Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Bronze Reaper Podcast. I'm your host, Rosalind Perkins, and today we got a great show today. Give me a second. Why Black Americans, also known as foundational Black Americans, have to explain people their identity. Um, the reason why we have to talk about that, is because we are always being put in a category. Is it important? It's a yes and no. It depending how you feel. Most of the time, it's a to me it's a no. You shouldn't have to explain who you are and what you are. Especially if it's not you and it doesn't affect you. But every outrage has a story to tell. You know, as I would say, every it has a story. Um, Can it be because of delineation? Can it be because of no more inclusiveness? It could be a lot of stuff. To me, as I always say, I think it's because of the delineation renaissance that is actually going on. Um, to me, so and also too, it's like a bad relationship where somebody say, "Oh yeah, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, yada yada yada, blah blah blah," and you'd be like, "Yeah, you know what, you are right," and the person be like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait," to me it just seems like everybody wants to argue. You know, do they got a point? Um, Probably not. And the reason why I said they don't have a point because it's not them. It's not them going through that situation. It's not them having to explain, who they are. To me it shouldn't be a big deal. Um Today we will have a quick show, so you know me, I'll do a little bit of talking, and I do want to try something different. And don't forget, next week, after the week of Labor Day, I'm not doing no podcasting. So definitely only if it's like something like a breaking news. Other than that, we're gonna take a week off. It's just, to me, honestly, it's a reset. I have been doing this for the past 2 years, and only time I ever had a reset or any time off is if I got suspended from YouTube. So yeah, it's bad, but it still was like work that I was doing. Like um, setting up for shows, doing ventures, reading investment books. But this week, that whole week, I will be doing a little bit of recording for the documentary Bronze Reaper presents Freedom Begins at the End. That's called. Those are documentaries I will probably do probably 4 times a year, starting 2027. So definitely, I will be doing that 4 times a year. Um, and I might only, and I'm gonna say this. I probably will let you see it one time, but after that, it will be members only. So yeah, definitely. It's gonna be something dope. With the recording, and like I said, the donations that you do give me, the money does go somewhere. It goes into ventures, projects, to the show, whenever we need something. And then 9 out of 10, I usually pay out my pocket. So it's not something that, you have to give a donation. Only time you have to really give a donation is if you want to jump on the link, or you want me to drop the link and you want to say what you want to say, Monday through Thursday. If we do a show on Saturday, that's up in the air. That's if I really want to talk to somebody. You know, but yeah, and shout out to Dorsey. I just seen your link earlier. I'm sorry I couldn't respond. What did they block you from? For a month? Jesus Christ. Dorsey got blocked from something. What's going on, FBA convo? Salute, salute. Let's have a productive conversation tonight. Yeah, we're doing a late show. This should have been done 9:45, but I was just so tired. And there was stuff I had to pay. I still didn't even look in my book, and I still got to pay some other stuff in the morning. So yeah, it's yeah, your boy is exhausted. That's why I'm drinking coffee right now. I was gonna run to the liquor store and try to get me something to drink because I'm aggravated. Um, Let me tell you the two things I hate buying: eggs and water. The reason why my son always breaks my eggs. Water because I find water bottles everywhere. Like, there's no way in hell that people don't throw the water bottles. They throw the water bottles everywhere except the recycling bin. They throw it under the bed. They throw it on the floor. They throw it in the sink. They put it on the table, but they don't put it in the trash. They don't put it in the recycling bin. And it's aggravating. It's just sometimes I be asking myself. Thank God I remember I was smoking some real good weed when I was smoking one day, and I caught anxiety when I seen somebody's car. It was so fucking dirty, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck I just walked into?" And it was the weed. It was some really good weed I was smoking. Like probably it was like probably 10 years ago, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck I just walked into?" So it was crazy, man. It's just because I've never seen any shit like that ever. But the next, I think, 5 shows that we are going to be doing, 5 to 10 shows that we are going to be doing, it's going to be some great shows. I'm actually thinking about doing a show on Saturday, just because we're taking that whole week off of doing podcasting. So yeah, it's. I probably, honestly, I'm gonna say this. I probably might need a little bit of sleep. Most of the interviewing that I will be doing is, most of the documentary I will be doing is mostly talking, um, and it's like I said, I got a lot of stuff to do, man. I probably might not even start the interview until Tuesday. I'm still, it's a lot of stuff that I am doing, man, and like I said, I appreciate everybody that was, that watch the show, that gives donations and stuff like that. Even even the people who talk shit and still give donations, I do appreciate it, man, because like I said, this shit ain't easy. Like I said, when I first started this, I just want to give everybody a platform to say what they want to say. Even if I disagree. This is why I can talk to the Kwamis and the Shabakas and stuff like that. It's just like I said, just respect the laws of the land. I think that's the most important thing. Just respect the laws of the land. You know, and like I said, we joke around, and I let y'all say very offensive shit. And it's cool. Like I said, it's cool, man. I understood when I started this podcast. I'm gonna have thicker skin. I'm gonna have to have thicker skin to like even fuck with y'all because y'all say some far off shit, man. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh yeah, you know what, you should be put in some type of like bad camp or anything. It's just when you're in this world, you have to get used to that shit, especially as a Black American. Black Americans get the slack of everything, of everybody. A motherfucker could be having a bad day, they'll burn down the whole Black American community just because niggas is having bad days. You know, it's a as I always tell people all the time, it's a weird situation. It has always been a weird situation. I personally, I after podcasting, I don't want to get involved in any of that shit because if you're gonna talk to me, first you're gonna have to pay me to even listen to your dumb ass and stuff. If not, I'm just gonna just to have a conversation about it. You better be lucky to have the conversation with me if I'm not podcasting. You know, and the reason why is I feel like I shouldn't have to explain to you. You know, you're not that important to explain what the fuck is going on. So um it's a lot of bullshit. I will say that it's a lot of bullshit. You know, and like I said, it comes with the territory of what we do as podcasters. You know, and or streamers or reaction videos or whatever you want to say. This is the type of shit that comes with it. You know, and this is just my experience. You know, I deal with it. Fuck it. I just personally, me, I rather not talk about people's wives or or kids in a very bad way. You know, you might say, "Oh yeah, your wife is sexy" or some shit like that, or you're not satisfying your wife. Yeah, that shit is funny, but demeaning somebody's wife or saying trying to make a slick remark, I don't want to be a part of that type of shit. Those are the type of shit I don't want to be a part of. Because bad shit can happen, and then I don't want to be a part of that shit. You know, especially like again when it comes to kids and wives. That's my step the step the fuck back. You know. But let's talk about it. Should Black Americans still explain to people what their identity is? You know, because people don't want to accept that Black Americans are just black. They're a whole different ethnicity. They're a whole admixture. You know, we're gonna get into something very good on Friday. We're gonna talk about um, Jamaica. You know, hopefully Snow Bunny King will be there and Kwame because they're both Jamaican, and I want to know how they feel about this. But um, I'm gonna say this: it's Black Americans is their own ethnicity because we're admixtures of all this stuff. We're a whole different race. If you really want to be honest, this is why a lot of people say that they want to delineate from Africa because at the end of the day they know nothing about Africa. You know, like me, like so. I always tell people my situation. My situations is a little bit different from other people. I was born in '80s. You know, my grandmother was born in the '30s. My great granddaddy, my great grandmama were born in the mid late 1800s. You know, so it's like I understand why we deserve reparation. A lot of these people don't understand why Black Americans deserve reparation because these are people who are just late to the party, or these are new offsprings. You know, we understand that like yo, we are admixtures. You know, I will say this. I would say, I would say, and the reason why I say we're a whole different admixtures. Are we mixed with natives? Yeah, we're mixed with natives, but I personally wouldn't want to claim being Native American or red natives. I will say, yeah, we're black natives, native of America, North America. Yeah, we're native to this land. But I so I never really told y'all how I really feel about Black Americans even saying that they're Native American. That's why I always say Black natives or indigenous, Black indigenous or Aboriginals, and it's because we're our own. Like I said, we're our own ethnicity. Would we have a little bit of red native? Yeah, we probably might have a little bit of red native, but I wouldn't want to take on their culture because we have our own culture. You know, we have our own languages. We have our own, structure. And a lot of those red natives didn't fuck with us. Like again, this is just how I feel. You know, if you're native, yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot of people who could trace their lineage back to a red native tribe, back to like the Creek Indians, the Choctaw, and God knows what else. That's the only ones I can remember right now. But it's I don't know why people get mad about that. You know, again, I personally, give me a second. Again, I personally would not. I wouldn't want to claim again being an Indian, but if you can trace your lineage back to a red native tribes, yeah, by all means do it. You know, and this is just me. Again, this is just me. I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, follow erosion. I'm saying this is the stuff that I do believe in because at the end of the day, like I said, are there red native tribes that took in black Americans and Africans? Yes, absolutely. You know, but again, not everybody's Native American or even just like African. Not everybody's Native or African. So it's to me it's a weird situation, and I personally wouldn't want to become I wouldn't want to be called a Native American as it is because they got reparations for having slaves. So it's like again, as everybody always say, everybody is against Black America. Everybody wants the everybody wants the fun part of being Black Americans, but nobody wants to be Black Americans. You know, everybody wants our culture. Everybody wants our style, our everything, but they don't want Black America. If that makes sense to anybody. Um, it's a like I again. Hold on one second. Put that in there. But yeah, it's give me a second, everybody. And everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the live chat. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah, everybody, don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe to the live chat. Like and subscribe, comment, and it will be soon. Once we start, it will be subscribers only. So don't forget to subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And also, if you want to give donations, I will be dropping the link for my Cash App and my GoFundMe for the Brother Morningstar project. The great Brother Morningstar, the great Sir Adam's great portrayal. So definitely, we will be recording that very soon. So definitely, I will be taking more days off. But yeah, yeah, it's like again I said, everybody. What the heck is going on? Ain't nobody said nothing about no African life. But yeah, we're our own admixtures. A lot of people is gonna have to get over that, you know, and understand it. Um, but I'm gonna say this: I don't think Black Americans should be having to explain to anybody. You know, even Pan Africans, if they don't get it now, if they don't get it's not a cult, then why the fuck are we even having these type of conversations? And that's just me. I know I'm kind of mean about it, as a lot of like immigrants say, "Oh, you're kind of mean about it, and you don't know how to talk to niggas," and just the whole 9 yards, man. All I'm gonna say is I don't give a fuck. I'm tired. It comes to a point where people are tired of explaining to these folks what is a foundational Black American. It's the same thing as a Black American. Black culture, black food, black lineage, what makes us black Americans. That's what foundational black Americans is. Us tracing ourselves back. I mean, us tracing our roots in America. Because we know we can't trace our roots back into Africa. We're gonna find a cousin in Africa or some shit like that. No, it's not gonna happen. And I'm gonna say this: I'm probably one out of a few people that is a foundational Black Americans that support Africa. It's just like again, I'm not gonna help. I'm the last nigga you should ask to help you. I've been helping long enough. It's time for these Pan Africans to help. So it's. Let me ask y'all a question. Why don't y'all ask the Pan Africans? You know, if y'all such since y'all so like Pan Africanish, like why don't y'all ask them? You know, y'all sit here under me all day talking about this bullshit and like even the Mexicans. I'm not even talk about Mexicans today. The reason why I have a problem with that with the Mexicans, because Mexicans always say, "Yeah, we black too. We just got off the a different. We got off the slave ship at a different place." This is what they always say. And as I said, man, I apologize to a lot of Latinos because a lot of Latinos always say, "Yo, we're not black," and I understand. I understand why they say they're not black. And this I'm gonna say this. Even to my own people, y'all got to start listening to these people. If they're telling you that they're not black, accept it. Accept that shit. We don't gotta like yeah, we can make jokes of it because that's our culture, just ragging on niggas and shit like that. But we gotta stop doing like, oh yo, he don't wanna be black, yada yada yada. Niggas not black. Drop that shit. Leave that shit alone. Because right now we're looking at the situation right now with them. They're saying that they are not black. They are Dominican. We gotta understand that. And again, this is me. This is me saying that, and I don't like me. I don't have a. When I was younger, because I didn't understand, I had a problem with it. But I don't have a problem with Latinos saying that they're not black. It doesn't make them anti-black. It's just saying that, like, yo, this is who they are. And I know I'm really easy going with that and shit, and this is why a lot of immigrants fuck with me. You know, they might not like what I say, but at the end of the day, they understand why I accept who they are. You know, like I'm not here to trying to change nobody, or I'm just here to give you a platform. And that's all I wanted to do, everybody. Give me a second. Damn, that's too many. That that that. Hold on, everybody. I apologize. I just Jesus Christ. It's but yeah, it's like we can't keep on doing this to each other. That's one thing I will push back on. Like if a Dominican say they're not black, I'm agreeing with them. Even though I critique them a lot, but this is what they're saying. So only thing we need to do is accept what they say. You know, but yeah, you gotta accept what they're saying, man. Like, cause again, I said, I get why they say they're not black. They. I'm gonna say this: African. What's going on, E Will? Shout out to you. Oh, it's the E Will. What's up, fam? How you doing, bros? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm actually talking about Dominicans right now, and I'm saying that I understand why they say that they're not black. I would even say this: Dominicans are more closer with Africa than we are. They get culture from Africa. We don't get really culture from Africa. We had to create a whole different culture. The Jamaicans are more intertwined with Africa than Black Americans. Because again, we don't have any culture that came from Africa. You know, A lot of these places in the Caribbeans came from Africa. You know, so it's we got to accept what it is. You know, and I was also saying too, E will that I don't mind people saying that they're Indian because there's some people that can trace their self back to Indian tribes. You know, but do I believe everybody's Indian? No, I think people are black natives. And when I said black natives, I think they're native to a land. And did we? And I'll say this: we did intermarry with Indians, Red Indians. You know, so I do agree. Give me a second, everybody. So I do agree that I do agree that we could be like if you say you're a Creek or what was that Muskegee Creek Indian, okay, cool. You know, I think the only thing like if you lived in Florida and I'm gonna say this, I might be right, I might be wrong, but I think them Red Seminoles sold us out in Florida. Because when we was fighting the white man, they told us like, we can leave and go to Oklahoma and start fresh. The black Seminoles didn't leave. The red Seminoles left. They left and got some slaves in Oklahoma. You know. So now the question is, were or are we a part of these Seminoles and these Creek? And this is why I even said that. Let's say we are a part of it. Let's play hypotheticals. I hate playing hypotheticals, but I'll do it tonight. Let's say we are Creek and Choctaw and Cherokee and stuff like that. Don't you think it would be smart if we start our own our own organization like the Choctaw Nation, but we'll say the Black Choctaws and the Black Creeks? Because if you notice, a lot of these people, a lot of these red natives don't want us in those organizations, you know. And I'm not pushing device. I'm not trying to be divisive, but at the end of the day, if we watch what these people are doing, they don't want us in their organizations, you know. So it's I think it's best if we start our own. If you are a Creek or a Choctaw or Seminole or whatever you are. Start your own because at the end of the day, a lot of these, and I'm gonna say this, and when you do that, this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna start yelling and crying divisiveness and xenophobic. That's what they're gonna start yelling. You know, and I'm warning you, they're gonna start doing that because at the end of the day, we're agreeing with what they do. They say they don't want us in there, so if we start our own and we told them, yo, y'all stay over there, we're gonna stay over here with our stuff. They're gonna start yelling xenophobic. They're gonna start yelling divisiveness because you know what? Everybody wants to share our organizations. Everybody wants to share our accomplishments, you know, our achievements. But when we agree with them and say, like, you know what, maybe we should have our own stuff. Because this is what I'm going to say this. This is what the diaspora always say about black Americans. Why don't you have your own stuff? Why don't you have black communities? Why don't you have black organizations? So again, when we get black organizations and we say like, yo, and we push back saying like, yo, these people should not be in these organizations, such as the Black Caucus, like there was the Black Caucus conventions and stuff like that. A lot of people push back on immigrants, black immigrants being in the Black Caucus because at the end of the day, they're technically not. They're fighting for. They're not really fighting for reparations for Black Americans. That's why it was so easy for them to deny it and say, "Well, shit, it doesn't work." You know, they again they have nothing to attach them for it. You know, like when we say brothers to another black American, we see each other as brothers. No, we understand the struggle. We understand what's going on. a lot of, and I'm talking about historically, a lot of these black people from the black diaspora don't understand it. So, and this is why, again, if this makes me divisive, sometimes I guess divisive is acceptable. You know, if everybody, it's like this. Let me give you an example. If we're all at war and stuff, and every time we go to war, for you, I always get shot. Then, when my situation comes up and I have to go to war, you're never there. You never want to fight for me. So when a situation with you come up with war, I'm like, nah, I'm good, and you have a problem with that. Again, you shouldn't have a problem with that if you know if you did if you're not really if you don't got if you're not if it's not good faith. If it's not good faith, don't do it. I'm just gonna be personally honest. If you're doing shit out of bad faith, don't do it. It's gonna affect all of us. So yeah. Again, as I said, I don't have a problem with helping the black diaspora, but every time, like I said, every time when there's a black situation, when there's a black conversation, everybody feels like, you know what, they always have to say, everybody has to throw their 2 cents in. Then when motherfuckers like, yo, we don't give a fuck what you say, people yelling foul. And I'm gonna give you an example. Once we start talking about what's going on in Jamaica right now with the Chinese Jamaicans and the Afro Jamaicans, if we're gonna say it, what's the whole situation? And the situation is that the Chinese Jamaicans are telling that the Jamaicans, the black Jamaicans, that okay, you know what, being Jamaican is not being Jamaican is not being black. Jamaican is a whole different ethnicity. It doesn't have a color. This is what this lady is saying. This is what we're gonna be talking about on Friday. You know, the Jamaicans are saying like, yo, hold up, being Jamaican is black. Jamaicans, the black Jamaicans, bled, went to war, fought for that little country. But also we have to understand too, the Chinese was over there in the mid late 1800s. This is again, remember what I was explaining. The Chinese is the reason why Jamaicans had the surround sounds. We already had the surround sounds in America. The Jamaicans didn't have that. The Chinese introduced them to that. This is why I always say that the Chinese deserve 50% of reggae music because they brought the technology. They bought the technology. And I'm gonna say this: any Jamaican got is mad about what I said, nigga. You have the internet. You could look that up. You could see that it's true. They brought what's his name, Mr. Lee. I think the guy's name, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, brought the surround sound and the technology to Jamaica. And they did not believe they chased them out of Jamaica, and they were in New York. I think today, till this day, I think they're still in New York if they're still alive. Yeah. But we don't talk about that, So yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, and they had the patois and everything, and they even saying that the the way how Jamaicans talk, they got that from the Irish because the Irish was the indigent servants in Jamaica. So it was white people that helped build Jamaica, So the British brought them over there. You gotta blame the British. And I know it looks like I'm talking shit, but the British did bring over the Irish. You know, it's again, man. Let me improve that one. I actually like that one. But again, everybody, we do have to look at it. We got to look at it as like, okay, you know what? Should we be explaining? And this is why I said the reason again when I brought that up. You see how they have that conversation with each others and stuff. If I jump in and say, be like, yeah, the China woman is right. The China woman is right that Jamaica is not a black country. Jamaica is an ethnicity. It's an admixture of others. So nigga, I wouldn't be wrong. I wouldn't be wrong if I said that. So yeah, to a certain extent, I do agree with her, but I do agree that the Africans that became Jamaican, they built America. I mean, they built Jamaica. You know, and I would say this: I think they brought the Chinese over there to expand. Was there people going over there for economic reasons to Jamaica? Yes, I do agree with that too. But there were some people that went to Jamaica that were Asian. They went to Jamaica to escape something farther more than just economic reasons. So yeah, I, I we'll talk about it Friday because we're gonna play devil's advocate on Friday. You know, and that's just me. We'll play devil's advocate. You know, but yeah, again, these people are these people are not talking about being African. They're talking about being a different ethnicity. You know, well, the Asian woman is talking about being a different ethnicity because again, where she's coming from, and it might. And the thing about it, some people might take it as the way how she was explaining it as a white supremacist. We can even say that some people could take it that way, but we gotta still have to listen to what she is saying. Is Jamaica a different ethnicity? I say yes. There was Indians over there. There was Asians over there. There was white over there. There was African over there. There were Taino Indians over there. That's saying something. If is it a different ethnicity? Can This is the question I would ask. Can Jamaicans go back to Africa and say like, "Yo, that's my brother"? No, they can't do that because at the end of the day, Black Americans do that, and Black Americans is very understanding and giving and try to try to get along type of people. Even though a lot of Africans and Caribbeans they try to make Black Americans feel like, okay, yo, you know what? Like Black Americans are not trying to listen. They're very entitled. We're not entitled. Why would we want to be entitled to a fucking Caribbean country that's a third world country? Why would we want to be? Why would we want to be entitled to a third world fucking country? And we in America eating good. We eating good in America. That's why people come here. We eat good. So why would I want to claim your country? Why would I want to be entitled to your country? This is why Black Americans say, "Yo, we know nothing about Africa." You need to find out. You need to learn. Nigga, I don't need to do anything. Most of my generations came from America. The latest generation came from America. The latest century, generation, decade came from America. I don't know why people don't want us to be proud of building. Uh, Put it this way, I'm gonna say this: Black Americans is the first people to build. Well, Black Americans are the first people to build a first world country. Just about. Let's think about it. We built a first world country. Last time somebody ever done that was the Moors. And don't forget, the Moors got chased out or got exiled out of Europe. They got kicked out of Europe. That's telling you something. Then what happened when they got kicked out of Europe? They were dirty again. These people were dirty again. They were catching diseases again. They were going through the dark times. Like it's this is the type of bullshit that goes on, and without Black Americans or the Moors, you know, two type of blacks that built countries was Black Americans and the Moors, and they might be the same people. How the fuck? And let me show you the similarities. Technology. They built technology. Black Americans built technology. The Moors built a way to live in. The way of living. Black Americans showed other people how to live. You know. Hey, Black Snow Bunny King. I'm glad you're on here. Yo, Friday, I want you to be on the show. I don't need you to be link up or anything. You're gonna be talking stupid. Um, but this will be about your country on Friday. So definitely keep a lookout for that. It's gonna be because there was a conversation that happened in Jamaica, and definitely I do want to see you in the live chat. You know, even though you're a Pan African or whatever the fuck you are. 1 week the FBA isn't. Next week the FBA is an alien from Uranus. This nigga crazy. That's funny. Black Snow Bunny K. He said 1 week. 1 week the FBA is a pretendian. The next week the FBA is an alien from Uranus. Um, I'll say this. I think y'all put that shit in y'all head. I think you Africans, y'all Caribbeans, y'all put that own shit in your head. Niggas talking about they were red native. There are some people that can trace their lineage back to red natives, but people said that they were black natives. You know, they're not, and I'm gonna say this, Black Snow Bunny King, and this is why I said listening is an art. Give me a second, everybody. Okay, cool, cool, cool. This is why I said listening is an art because, again, Black Snow Bunny King. How many times I said it's like, yo, they were black natives. I never called them red natives. I don't even like to say the word Indian. I always like to say native. Am I right or wrong? I never said India. I always said native, red natives, black natives, because they intermarried with each other. You know, that's what I said. I said they intermarried with each other, right? But again, are there some black people, red natives, have some red natives lineage? Yes. Were there some black natives and red native tribes? Yes. But there were also some black Americans that were African that came over on the slave ship from Africa. Yes. It was a small percentage, but it's possible. This is why I always tell you sometimes two things can be right at the same time. You know, and sometimes again, Black Snow Bunny King, I think you be arguing about a whole different topic about what we're arguing about. You know, this is why I say, yo, Black Americans, Black Snow Bunny King, you need to listen. Black Snow Bunny, stop just talking. Just stop talking just to be talking. Just listen. You know, and I think this is where y'all problem is that you can't accept what Black Americans are. You know, but y'all will figure it out. I'm gonna be personally honest because I'm gonna say this. Even in Jamaica, some of y'all have some tribal y'all. Some of y'all are tribal Indians. Not the Indians, but India of Jamaica. Who they chat? No, 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 no. I'm not talking about what you wrote, Snow Bunny King. I'm talking about in the just when we do talk. Jesus Christ. Again, this is why I say, yo, sometimes we be having different conversations. It's not, and again, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, again, this is why I gave you this platform. I gave you a platform to be a fucking idiot. And this what came with it. Give me a second. This what came with the bullshit with it. Some people don't like it, but again, that's what came with the bullshit. Educated African Americans do not have to explain their identity to anyone. So why do you argue? And I don't like the term African American, but I know you like it, so I'm not gonna say anything about it. So again, Black Snow Bunny King. So why do you argue about Black Americans being something else? That's the question now. I agree with you, but I have to ask a question. If you agree with that, why do you argue about? I mean, Black Americans saying that again we have genetics that are that are African, but our genetics is far out of Africa. Yeah, you do a 23andMe, it's going to say like 80, 90% African. But again, as I always told you, the 23andMe, that's for entertainment purposes. It's not going to tell you where you're from. Because don't forget, a lot of those tribes are new. This is why I understand, again, when Jamaicans say, yo, we're not African, we're Jamaican. I get it. I get it. Africans are the purest Africans ever. They're the purest. Not like, it's so hard to explain. They're the purest Africans that people talk about of being African from Africa, the continent of Africa. Us, we're all mixed. Even you, Black Snow Bunny King, you're probably mixed with some fucking Indian, or you're probably mixed with some type of Irish or British person. So again, it's something to think about. It's cool that you want to support Africa, but I'm not supporting no third world country, especially if my ancestors never built it. I'm just being honest. If you want to, if you want to support some dirt roads and some dirty ass rivers with poop in it and some mud huts, by all means. And not all Africa's like that. So let me clear that up. Not all Africa like that, but if Africa was this great place, let's personally be honest. Why aren't a lot of people moving to Africa? Why is everybody moving to Europe? You know, it's just like again, people come to America because it's easy over here to succeed because Black Americans has done all the work, has done all the hard lifting. You know, and like again, it does. You're not smart because you go to college. Kim Kardashian went to college. Don't forget, she's damn near a fucking lawyer. Now she just has to pass the bar exam that the shit that she couldn't pass. And then I'm gonna say this: the bar exam was put there to so Black Americans cannot, so a lot of Black Americans couldn't be lawyers. Now this bitch can't be a lawyer. And she went to college. She spent thousands of dollars, hundreds, was it tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now she can't be a fucking lawyer because she can't pass the bar exam because the government was trying to keep Black people out from being lawyers. Yeah. Now their people can't be lawyers because they can't pass the bar exam. So it's shit happens, man. I tell people that all the time, man. She got money anyway. She don't need to be a lawyer. She's a fucking idiot anyway. But that's what college is. College is that, yo, I just know how to collect information. That's it. That's all college is. I know how to collect information. I know how to write papers. I know how to listen. Is some stuff that you go to? Is there some stuff important to go to college for? Yes. Say if you want to be a fucking doctor. That's a way of being a doctor on a high, category. So it's, ooh, excuse me. What can we say? I can't be mad about that. But yeah, it's again, I don't. Again, I don't see people. I don't see nothing wrong with people saying that, yo, they're more than just African. They're not African. I get it. You know, sometimes you just have to understand. Sometimes you just got to sit there and listen why they're not African. You know, I had to have a Latino explain why they're not black, and I get it. When you think of black, people think of black Americans, black people from was chattel slavery. Even some off the boat, the 4% off the boat from Africa, because that's it was only for again there was only 4% of Africans that came over here involuntarily to America. Less than 300,000. So again, those are the Africans I feel bad for. You know, and this is why also I always say, and we'll talk about this Monday. The what we're going to talk about Monday, or maybe even Saturday, because I'm going to wrestling on Saturday. Should Africans get reparations for some shit? And the reason I'm gonna say this: should they get reparations for some shit that they started, or should they get reparations for some shit that they were they helped start? It is what it is. That's what we're gonna talk about. Yo, I'm gonna tell y'all, yo, we got some good shit going on this week. We're gonna have some good topics going on this week, the rest of this week, and the rest in the next week. Because I'm gonna have to do a show next Saturday too. So I'm gonna have to because yeah, what's going on, Ray Ray? It should no, it should they no, it should they be paying reparations? No. The question is, this is Monday. Should Africans get reparations for some shit that they helped start? You know, because if we kind of look at it, Africans helped start slavery. They did help. Didn't they get some value from it? Were they victims or business partners? Yeah, that's the question that we need to ask. Were they business partners or were they victims? Are they going in a bad situation? Yeah, they were going through it. No, they should be paying the referee. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and I'm gonna say this. I think they need to be paying. And I'm gonna say this. Africans should be paying reparations to the Caribbean island first. I think they need to pay reparations to the Caribbeans first. You know, it's true. They're the reason why they're over there. Like that. I'm just being honest. Like they started, they started slavery in that country. You know, even and I'm gonna say this: they should be paying them Native Indians too. Haiti paid for. Yep. Should Africa be banned from being according to yeah. Well, the debt is over. They finished paying that debt off. I think like 5 years ago. They finally finished paying it off. But the thing about it, I don't know if they still got. I don't know if France still got hands in Haiti. And I'm gonna say what a lot of these Europeans be doing, and this is why I never follow European ideology. You know, what they do. Give me a second, everybody. All right, so I'm back, everybody. Yeah. So again, like they just finished paying it off, but it's you have to look at it like this. Should Haiti get reparations from Africa? You know, this is why. I mean, I'm sorry. Let me. All right, I just caught ADD. I know ADHD. I'm sorry. Now I know what they were saying. Now I know what I was saying. This is why I don't follow European ideology, because Europeans will tell the world that, oh yeah, these people don't know what they're doing. They're being very uncivilized. Then go to their country and start killing people, start slaughtering people by hundreds of thousands. We have seen that multiple times. It like, again, is it right? It's not my. It's again, it's not my. It's not my problems, but I would never trust European ideology. European ideology will tell you that, like, yo, these people are savages over here, and the reason why they're savages to these Europeans because they're getting along with each other. What's going on, Rob? And shout out to you. So that was a good question, Ray Ray. And y'all gotta understand too. Without the failure of Africa and the Caribbean islands, there wouldn't be a success. There wouldn't be success of Europe. You know, Europe can't build anything. Europe can't really grow anything. Europe can't really manufacture anything. Everything that they do, everything that they have, comes from a different country in Europe. America. This is why, if you look in America, we have farmers. We have people that grows different type of vegetables and fruits. The thing about it is that they just don't want to pay anybody. You know, in America, they don't want to pay everybody. They want to think they should get it for free. They still thinking back in. They still their mindset is still in the 1700s. The government think they're entitled to free shit. Real talk. Just let's think about it. America don't. America. Let me give you an example. Google. So in America, instead of making programs and all this other stuff for farmers and people who breed like meat and stuff, they rather try to get the short end of the stick while hiring somebody for less. Yes, man. They bring me well, so, for peace. Rough. Yeah, that's what. Look at Europe. I mean, look at Ireland. Ireland's known for potatoes. It's potatoes. That's all they know for. It's. I like potatoes too. You got potato chips. You got French fries. You got chicken pot pies with the potatoes in it. Like potatoes you can make a business off of, but how much potatoes you can have. Like in America, we can grow potatoes in America. Don't forget, Idaho is known for potatoes. You know, we got cheese. We make cheese. We make everything in America. This is why I always explain to people like, yo, we don't really need as much that other countries need, and from these other countries. Oh, I love potatoes. That is in my blood, basically. Well, Robin, you're Irish, so of course you're gonna love potatoes, man. You shout out to you playing, man. Give me a second. But yeah, again, as I told people, like if you want, I always explain to people, if you really want America built, give black people money, give black people opportunities. You know, like if you ever notice anything that black excellence happened in America, it has always been infiltrated like 10, 20 years down the line. We could talk about Black Wall Street. We could talk about all damn near every community in America was destroyed. We can talk about even when black Americans went to their own schools and we didn't have all this funding, black Americans were doing good. We had our own colleges. It's we have everything that was ours. Now they integrated. This is why I always get mad at people who always talk about, oh, yo, we need our own community. Nigga, y'all had your own communities. And y'all was struggling. Y'all was struggling in your own communities. When black Americans was separated from everybody, and I'm not saying I'm a separatist, but when black Americans was separated from everybody, and I'm talking about living wise, probably even work wise, you know, black Americans was striving more because their money was staying in their communities. Yeah, they were staying in our communities. But once they got integrated, it went all down the line. It went all down the world. Now we hear everybody complaining about, oh yeah, why aren't black people doing anything? Nigga, everything that we have, y'all infiltrated. Like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to? This is what I'm gonna tell um, the the black diaspora and the white supremacists. What do you want us to do? Because when we were separated from y'all, we were doing great. We don't need to talk about, oh yeah, it's because of the motherless homes and all this other shit. No, it wasn't. It's just like, yo, when we were by ourselves, we were by ourselves. We could talk amongst each other. We know how we all are. But once shit got integrated, we had these weird ass policies. We couldn't really talk to each other. There was always some type of ethical code because at the end of the day, again, there's too many cultural differences. There's too many cultural differences. Even in the '90s, back in the '90s, black people couldn't have braids and trying to get a job. If I had braids in the '90s, I couldn't get a job. If I had dreads, I couldn't get a job. But when it turned into a popularized thing, when white people were having dreads, white people were having braids, Asian people were having braids, Spanish people having braids and dreads, everybody's having it now. Now, oh, it's a what they call it? It's a fashion statement. You know how many jobs I lost because I had braids? Like, let's think about it. People who had braids, they lost their job. Now it's acceptable. When black women didn't hot comb their hair and they just had their natural hair, they wouldn't get a job. This is how the '90s was. This is how the '90s was. I remember the '90s, and that is true. Yeah. All of a sudden, everybody got dreads. Everybody got braids, and I'm talking about, yo, people like in the '90s, people just had regular nice dreads. Now, niggas, they got these crazy ass dreads. They got the fucking weekend dreads and getting jobs and working for high paying jobs. I'm being honest. But yo, it's mind fucked. And this is why I show. This is why I always explain to people. I was like, Black Americans are by themselves. Black Americans is by ourselves. So again, this is where I have to say, who was fighting for Black Americans when we were going through this? This goes right into with the Black identity. Like, yo, this is why we need a. This is why This is why we identifying who we are. We're different from these other people. Our lineage is different. Our struggles is different. Our lingo is different. And I know a lot of people, infiltrate or adapt to our culture, but we don't do that to y'all culture. You know, I'm just being honest. A lot of people, we don't want to be in other people's culture. I'm gonna be personally honest. A lot of Black Americans don't want to be in other people's culture. We love our culture. Like, you ask a Black American if you could be any other race, what race would you be? 7 out of 10 of them would say, like, yo, I don't want to. I just want to be Black. Why would I want to be anything else? Because let me say something. When you start looking at other people's problems and shit, like racial problems and stuff, you start to see that, damn, even though my ancestors was in slavery, and even though my ancestors got Jay jerked out of everything that they have, I don't want to be these niggas. I don't even want to be these niggas. And I'm just talking about just being a Black American. Like, just think about it. You look at their problems and you look at a Black American's problems. Whose problems is worse? It's. I used to have long hair down to my back, and they used to say that means I smoke weed. Yeah, they stereotyped you, and they talk about no discrimination, and they'll yell. And Robin, they'll yell discrimination. In the '90s, they'll yell discrimination. And look what they just said. They're not giving you a job because you got long hair. They think you're a hippie. They think you're a hippie. You better not come in there with one of those flannel hoodies. Mm-mm. You better not do that. Yeah, no, you better not do. Oh my God! Shout out, shout out to my people who smoke weed. I don't smoke weed, but yeah, shout out to you, man. Y'all get y'all boogie on. But yeah, I don't have that problem, man. I was a hippie too. I used to wear peace sign all the time. Yeah, but this is the thing, Robin. You're just identifying for who you are. Give me a second. Fucking ant. Oh, man. Fucking ants. I hate ants. But yeah, you're just identifying what you feel comfortable is. It's having a fashion statement. You know. Again, I said I don't have a problem with that. I have never had a problem with that. It's just I'm just showing the biasness of black. Why are we explaining what's going on, Big Grimmy? Shout out to you. Immigrants will soon make it seem it is them who fought for us to where I know. I know, Big Grimmy. They always do that. It wasn't people who was fighting for us. It's just a lot of people was adapting to our culture. Everybody was adapting to our style, our lineage, everything. Because you got to understand, there's more poor white people than rich white people. You know, and I'm gonna say it again: there's more poor white people than rich white people. A lot of these poor white people was living amongst black people. So what you think they were doing? Don't forget, was it Marky? Didn't Marky Mark have braids? Was it Marky Mark running around here like MC Hammer? Like, come on, Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. It's just they had to adapt to that culture because if not, a lot of white people wouldn't have jobs. Now you look at white culture, they got dreads now. And what do they say now? It's Viking culture. Not knowing that Vikings were black. Like there wasn't no black Vikings. I'm gonna say this. This is how fucked up the system is. You know, were there white Vikings? Yeah, but there were black Vikings too. That's where y'all got them dreads from. But yeah, it's they adapted to the system. You know, yeah, they just adapted to the system. That's it. Give me a second, everybody. Fucking ants, man. Get more ants out here, man. But yeah, it's again. We gotta say it again. They adapted to the system. That was all a system thing. They understood, and this is why. And again, in 2026, this is why a lot of the conservatives and liberals are like losing because they're not adapting. They're thinking about trying to go back. They can't go backwards. This is why I always explain to people like, yeah, we're not going back into slavery. I don't even think they. I'm gonna say this: they're not gonna segregate black people. That'll be the last thing they do because they know the white communities will lose money. They know white businesses will lose money. Real talk. It wasn't again. Integration uh, uh, um, wasn't out of good faith. It was a money play. It was a money play. They understood that Black Americans was making too much money. Black Americans had a whole bunch of had a whole bunch of mom and pop stores. We're losing money. We can't have this. They're taking care of their own people without anything. Give me a second, everybody. Yeah, it's again, it's just we're seeing a lot right now. We're seeing a lot, and we're understanding. It's just again too, and this goes to the younger crowd. You can't forget about history because if you forget about history, you're gonna doom to repeat that shit, and you're not gonna understand that this shit already happened. This is. Let me tell you something. This is what was so. This is what was so different about from the 30s and 60s and up. From the 30s and 60s, they wasn't letting that shit happen. When they kicked us out, all right, yo, we're gonna have our own shit. Niggas went to Oklahoma, we lived out there, boom, boom, boom. Niggas seen that we were making money out here. Niggas moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, making their own money. Was it? Remember Lake Lanier? That was a whole community until they stuffed the shit underwater. The white supremacists did that. That's a lake now. Under that lake is water. I mean, is a community. It's a community. It was a black community that the white supremacists put underwater. If you have time, look up Lake Lanier. This is why a lot of white people die in that lake. Huh. I'm gonna even say this. This is why some people see ghosts. There's bodies in that water. I would even swim in that water. If you put a if you put a community underwater, this is how sick people are. People go there for vacation. Lake Lanier. Why the fuck would you go there if there's a community under that water, not thinking that there could be dead bodies under there? I want to hear more about that. Oh, Lake Lanier? Look it up. L-A-N Lanier. Lanier, I believe. Lanier. Yeah, Lake Lanier. Yeah, there's dead bodies under that shit. Don't forget, in 2019, when they were at Tulsa, was it where they had the Tulsa massacre? They were finding bodies in 2019. They found a dead lady's corpse with a baby inside of it. This is how sick people are. Then I'm gonna say these people didn't even go to jail. These people probably are still walking around, probably with a wheelchair or a fucking cane that killed these people. That must be most haunted lake ever. Yeah, probably is. I know. I would. This is Robin. I don't know why people go to Lake Lanier. I'm just being personally honest. I don't know why people go to Lake Lanier. You know, they should have told the white female, fuck you, kiss my ass. Yeah, facts, Rando. But yeah, it's they again. They've been they. There's people that vacation over there. You know, it's a sick thing. It's a very sick thing. You know, I personally wouldn't do that because something might grab you under that water because it used to be a community. Used to be a community. You know, so it's I wouldn't even put my kids in that situation. You know, give me a second, everybody. Right there. Yeah, I wouldn't even put my kids in that situation. I'm like, yo, let's go to Lake Lanier. Yeah, there's dead bodies over there, and like, I don't think people understand that. You know, I really don't think people understand that. You know, let's see, if something touched my foot in that league, I'd be I'd be like, they got me, they got me, they got me. Oh my god, yeah, man. Nah, I Robin, I'm gonna be personally honest. I don't know why white people go to Lake Lanier. I'm just being honest. I know white people like lakes. I just wouldn't advise them to go to that lake. There's other lakes you could go to. I'd rather them go to Crystal Lake with Jason Voorhees than to go to Lake Lanier. You know, that's that's what I would tell you. Again, I'd rather them go to. I'd rather them go to them to Chris. I'd rather tell them to go to Crystal Lake. Yes, it's much more safer. You know, at least you got one person chasing you, maybe even two to mama. But I wouldn't tell them to go to Lake Lanier. You got a whole fucking dead community chasing you. It's and this is if you believe in this stuff. But I will tell you, people die in there damn near every year. I personally think they need to close that lake down and Drain it. Drain it. See what they can find on the bottom. I'm just being honest. I really, but at the again, yeah, this is what we're talking. But let's get into the show, everybody. We're gonna have a little quick show. I know we've been talking for an hour and a half. Um, and again, I'm sorry that we're doing a late show today. I was very tired. I'm not even gonna. I was very tired. I've been tired lately, everybody. So yeah, don't mind me. I apologize. So this one is what is your problem with the FBA? And this is basically talking about lineage. You know, because FBA is the lineage. A lot of these people want to say, "Oh, it's a code, it's an organization." A lineage can't be a code or an organization. You know, because you want to play these word salads with with the words and stuff. We can't do it. We don't got time for that, everybody. You know, if you're not trying to understand, just talk about something else. You know, but let's go on.
Listen, though.
On. I came up to say y'all look so pretty.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sis.
This old thing. No.
This
Right.
whole thing, I tell my husband that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it be
Mr.
just as
Grateful.
new.
Thank you. All
Mm-hmm.
love to you. No, y'all done seen this before. But yeah, I know, and it was so crazy, Nether Boo. You remember last night, the guy we up here laughing, having a good time, and he laughing with us, but he tried to slip it in. He tried this twice.
And you know what? He is the epitome of what I call the devil. You just can't have no fun. That old devil just gotta show up and do something to disrupt the energy. And we let him stay for so long. We already knew I knew he wasn't who he was supposed to
Oh
be
yeah,
because he couldn't even
we
get our
all.
And I'm gonna say this. Let me tell you what's the difference between Black Americans and Black Caribbeans. Um, if you ever notice, if you ever go to a job, um, the Black diaspora hangs together, but when Black Americans hang together, the manager, the boss, the director will try to break them up. They don't want them close to each other. They feel like it's going to be an issue or they feel uncomfortable. That's the difference. You know, if you ever notice, you never really see Black Americans working together with each other is because um, they feel uncomfortable. Even if they see them laughing and having a good time, the manager will come in, hey, what y'all doing? Then they'll ask the guy to go do something else. You know, it always has been like that. That's the difference. But if you have a whole bunch of Caribbeans or Africans or even Afro Latinos, they're fine with that. You know, only thing I'll say this that a lot of these jobs don't have a that have these jobs that do have a problem, and it's just the language. They don't want people talking different languages at job. Me, I don't care. I don't mind. That's how they communicate with each other. They might be talking about you, but that's how people communicate with each other. I don't care. Me personally, I don't care about it because niggas talk shit about me all the time, so I'm used to it.
Right.
jokes.
Yeah, we all. That's how we called it. It was we called it quick because we all have our
Yeah.
antennas up anyway from the first time we
Like,
let them
dude,
slide. We like, oh
we're
yeah,
having
we
a good
watching you.
time.
You know, you
Y'all
don't
pray
want
for
the
me this
black.
weekend. I'm gonna have my grandkids.
Ooh, you
Oh,
don't want
They
the
finna
blacks
wear me out.
looking at you. You don't want the blacks watching you.
oh, wait a minute. We got a nice little comment. FBA loser. How
I
about you come here
know.
and let us know
Come
about it?
on up
Right.
here.
Come on up here, ugly.
We're gonna give you a little time to come up,
Yeah,
and
and
then you're
tell
gonna be
us why.
muted so you can look through the window.
Right, come up and maybe we can help you change your mind. I don't know. Let's
You
see.
too, Mr. Savage.
We
Right.
don't be doing nothing to nobody until they
Sure
do
don't.
something to us. Hey,
See
South.
how we
Uh-huh.
were just having a good conversation, and then you get that.
Yeah.
They
Hey,
can't
wasn't
wait to
even
come in here
mentioning
and
nobody. Hey, South,
get
how you
you.
doing? South?
Yeah, I'm cool. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Where
What
you from,
cool?
Sal?
What you doing?
I'm doing good. Where you from? What's your ethnicity?
I'm
Jamaican.
actually from Nigeria actually.
You
Oh, shout
sound
out to
Jamaican.
Nigeria. You want to address the prompt?
I'm a Nigerian actually.
Okay, cool. You want to address the prompt?
What you say?
I said that's cool. Would you like to address the prompt?
No, no. I'm
No.
actually no. I'm just a fan of the FBA actually. I'm actually a black, so I'm actually a fan of the FBA. I
You
love
mean a
Black
fan?
Americans. I
Oh,
admire
black.
them, and aside from that,
You live in the UK, huh,
no,
Sal?
I actually don't live in the UK. I'm actually precisely in Nigeria.
Oh, it just sounds like you got a little British accent or something.
Because they travel to the UK a lot. The
Oh,
Africans do.
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
I would
okay.
just say South London boy is actually more. South
Yeah.
London boy is actually more of a brand though. It's actually more of a brand. So that's it.
Oh, that's a clothing brand?
No, not clothing brand. I'm actually working on some sort of influencing though. You know, still actually anticipating, I would say, but when I'm actually unleashing, everyone would actually see where I'm trying to, insinuate and all though. But South London boy is actually more of a brand, so I just got to, keep up the accent.
Cool. So, what? Oh, that ain't your real accent?
No,
Think-
this actually my real accent. Jump up and slam pass. I'm just learning about it. Peckham precisely. I'm just learning about speaking like them, doing like them, merging into the culture and all. You understand what I'm trying to say? So
well,
that's it. It's actually something more I like.
why you don't want to? Is that for a job or something? Why you don't want to be like yourself?
No, I'm actually myself, though. South London boy is actually more of a brand. Most people call me South London boy because before I actually took the brand walk. So I'm just trying to, build something because actually social media is actually a very big place. So everybody just wanna look for where is actually gonna fit in. That's it. Not just me. I'm not an imposter or something. No.
Interesting. Hold on. He went on tea time and we don't know him like that. Let's get it, y'all.
All right.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Savage, what's your ethnicity?
I identify as an African.
Okay, from what country?
Well, I'm in the United States.
I know, but what country were your parents born in?
The United States.
This person here, this Andrea Stone person, I think I saw her.
Let's go on to the next one, man.
But then, okay, saving people, and we got cannons over here. Oh, we would have used them cannons. We just would have went in there and just start blasting. Hop on and ask me that question, dear. All right, Miss Bendy, hop on. Bendy Billions, whatever your name is, Bendy Billions. Okay, hop on, man. Miss Bendy, let's talk about it, Miss Bendy, because you're saying something that's sounds like it's a little incorrect. But hop on, Bendy. No, hop on, dear. Don't know. Because if you're going to ask in good faith. I don't want you just trolling in the chat room. Ask me that in good faith so we can have a conversation about it. So just hop on. You hop on, and then we can talk about it. Just don't say stuff in the chat room. Yeah, see, yeah, we're not going to do all that. Just saying little shit in the chat room. Get up and say it with your chest. In your case, say it with your big back. Yeah, hop on. No. Hop on. Hop on and ask me. No. Don't just be trolling in the chat room. Get that big back up here and talk about it. Because what you're saying is just you jibber jabbering. Hop on. I'm not answering trolling. You got to stand on what you're trying to say. Get up here and talk about it. That's what you do. Obviously, you don't believe what you're saying. That means you know you're trolling. If you won't get up here and say it with your chest, that means you're just trolling.
Hmm.
I don't respond to chat room trolling, ma'am. Yep. So yeah, you better get on, or you're gonna get blocked. You come up here and have the conversation. That's what you do. You come up and have the conversation. All right. It sound like you just trolling for attention. You just saying shit. You might be a big back tether. I don't know what's going on with you. All right. Excuse me. But yeah, we don't do all that just saying weird. Like it might be one of Rohan's accounts. All right.
Okay, so you say that we're not indigenous to America, so I want to hear your side on things.
We are indigenous to the United States. We are. I never said we weren't. We are indigenous to the United States, but
But not,
we're not part of Native American tribes. We ain't a part of no fucking tribe. But
so
we are. We
we're
were
not
well.
Cherokee.
We had an ethnogenesis from that.
So we're not Cherokee. We're not.
Mm. See, he just said what I just said. I said, see, he just said what I said. I said, and this is why I didn't like the pretendian thing. This is why I had an issue with me saying like, yo, I'm not red native. We are indigenous to this tribe. I mean, indigenous to America, but tribal wise, we're not the same. I said if you are, if you could, let me tell you something. If you can find some type of certificate or birth certificate of Black Americans saying that they're Native or even Indian, yes, claim it. But at the end of the day, I'd still think you should separate from the red natives. The red natives don't want nothing to do with you. The red natives was a part of some of this shit. It wasn't on a high altitude of what the white supremacists was doing or these white supremacist communities were doing, but they were doing it too. So yeah.
Etc.
No, you're not a Cherokee right now. No, you're not.
Okay, so what about the black people that already are like enveloped in all that and have the proof? So that's not real.
Now, if you got some proof, if you clicked in with a tribe, you somehow they let you in because they finessed them damn tribes 100 and something years ago. They let a bunch of $5 Indians in there, these white supremacists. They done kicked a bunch of black folks out. They've been remixed, flipped, smacked up, and all
True.
that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
They've been infiltrated for sure.
right,
But
right. So
originally,
we're not a part of those tribes no more. But yeah, there
okay,
was some. Now, let's be clear. In my family, somebody's a Creek Indian down the line. All right,
period.
you know what I'm saying? That's real. Somebody's a Creek Indian, but they got reclassified. They got reclassified, and there was an ethnogenesis, and they formulated black culture. There was a whole different cultural ethnogenesis there. You understand?
Yes.
So
Yes,
yeah,
I
I
do.
acknowledge, yeah, all of us got some type of indigenous ancestry. All of us is
I
foundational
said
black
that.
Americans. But we're not no damn Cherokee and all that shit. Now we're just not. Because we don't get no benefits from them tribes. If you go to the website of the damn Cherokee and all them, it's some lily white um um Britney Spears looking person who's running it or whatever.
True.
So yeah, it's all infiltrated now. So I'm not a part of that. And yeah, we ain't a part of that. We're just not a
Okay.
part of it. Yeah.
I'm happy.
I said that. See, this is why I was like, yo, if you could, if like I said, if you could attach yourself to some of these native tribes, yeah, do it. But as I said, a lot of these tribes are not accepting Black Americans, even if you do have the paperwork. I said if you really want to support your tribe, or if you if you want to show out, um, create your own tribe. Create your own tribe. That's the best thing I can tell you to do. Give me a second, everybody. I don't think so. It's not connected. Give me a second. All right. Okay. Yeah, if you want to support your tribe, by all means do it. But as I told people, I believe because I think you need a because there's organization of these tribes. I think you need to make a Black Native organization. You know, if they can do it, why wouldn't you do it? You know, this is where I think a lot of stuff is gonna. This is where I said a lot of this stuff can't have no gray lines in it because I believe, and this is what I'm gonna say. For years, and I'm talking about decades, everybody has been saying Black Americans don't get along. Black Americans don't work together. Black Americans can't create anything by themselves. We have proven them wrong, but now this is the time right now. To, if you're a Creek, if you're a Black Creek, if you're Choctaw, if you're Cherokee, you need to create your own organization with your culture because they're not trying to let y'all niggas in. They're not trying to have you support your great grandparents or your ancestors that were there and that contribute. So you have to figure out another way of showing people that your family has contribute. And if they have, and I'm gonna say this, they're gonna have a problem with it. And the reason why they're gonna have a problem with it is the same reason why the Black diaspora has a problem with foundational Black Americans, also known as Black Americans. I should show up at one of these tribes. Like, hey guys, did you miss me? Yo, Robin, yeah, you should. Hey, Robin, there's a Black tribe in New York? Yeah, there's a Black tribe in New York too. So, yeah, there's a Black tribe in New York. So, yeah.
I cleared that up because you be on some real stuff, but at the same time, I was trying to clear a couple things up.
Right. Now, where's your family
Okay,
from? Now,
excuse me,
where's your family from?
Mississippi.
Okay. And what tribes were they affiliated with?
I'm not gonna say any specific tribes because clearly I've been trying to go down the route of figuring that out. But
Uh huh.
I was just curious on your thought on it.
Right.
Because the way that everybody follows you in our community, a lot of people are under the impression that we are from Africa, and that is clearly not the facts.
Yeah, but some of us have African genetics, some of us have indigenous genetics.
Mhm.
My
I said
argument is
that.
that there was an ethnogenesis, so we became a whole different ethnic group outside of that. All right, so
Okay,
we're not continental Africans, nor are we Cherokee or part of the current tribes. We're not a part of none of those current tribes, and we
true.
damn sure ain't part of no African tribe. We are a
Okay,
brand new
true.
ethnic group. So that's my whole argument. All right.
Well, thank you. I wasn't
Yes,
trying to attack you, and thank you for that.
absolutely. Thank you so much. All right,
All
now
right.
listen. Some of the people in here, if you are part of, if you wanna, if you say you part of a Creek Indian tribe right now, go be a part of that Creek Indian tribe.
Yeah.
What's the argument? Just go be a Creek then. Yeah, my family, most of them, going back to the 1800s, they were Negro, colored, free people of color, black, and they were part of the ethnogenesis of what blackness is: the culture, the music, the food, the style, the slang, the language. That's where my family is. They found
Yeah, yeah, Randall. Yeah, anybody can catch it. Yeah, Tariq, that shit does look glued on, my nigga. Tariq, the shoe had a good laugh about that shit too.
foundational Black Americans,
Yeah, that shit look
and
glued
that's the
on.
thing. What partially makes you a foundational Black American is a combination of the genetics from Africa and the
Mhm.
genetics from here. It's a combination. Yeah, I don't say that I don't have African genetics. Yeah, I got African genetics because we were all mixed up on the plantation. We were mixed up on the plantation. So yeah, we got African and indigenous genetics, but I'm not a continental African. You see, it's not rocket science. It is not rocket science. Yeah, like if you get some flour from one place and some eggs from another place, and then you mix it together and make a cake. All right, the cake is no longer flour and eggs. It's cake now. It's a whole different thing. It went through a new genesis. It went through a whole different process to become something else. That's what we are. We are the cake, and we are the icing on the cake. You see? People want to point out all of these little mixtures that may have came from here and may have come from there. They only play that thing with us because the name of the game is to really dilute our ethnogenesis to act like it didn't happen. It did happen.
Hmm.
You know? Oh yeah, we had an ethnic transformation, just like this, chemical transformations, the whole shebang. You know? And it's just not the same. Just like if you get water, all right, you get water, that's what that is. Let's see who these people are. Who is this? Hello, ma'am. Well, turn the music down, beloved. Turn the music down. Turn the music down. Okay, get out of here. Looking like something off the Men in Black. Look like one of them, like a little light skinned alien. Okay, turn that damn music down. Okay. Oh, Lord. Excuse me. All right, let's get some other people in here. Man. Yeah, they come in here, that loud ass music. All right, let me see who we got. We're going to get some more people in here. All right, let's get Jasmine. Miss Jasmine, hop on in.
Hi, Tariq.
Hey, Jasmine, how are you, dear?
I didn't think you was gonna pick me this fast.
Yeah, so I'll pick you that fast. Hop on camera. Let's see let everybody know what's going
I'm
on
in
with
my
you. Hop on
car.
camera. Okay. There you go. What's going on with you? There you go.
Just came
Where you
from
at?
the bar with my dad.
Oh, you were at a bar with your dad?
And my stepmom.
That's some country
We
shit.
all there drinking at the bar?
So I'm kind of
Oh, y'all
messed up.
country. Got some country shit right there. Where y'all from?
we
Yeah.
we live in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
We
How's it?
originally from Flint, Michigan, and Chicago.
I know that's some country shit because I do the same thing with my daddy. So I knew that shit was country shit because I do the same thing with my daddy. I be drinking. I used to drink and smoke with my daddy. So yeah, it's country.
Oh, cool. Respect. So how you doing, dear?
Good. How are you? My grandparents, my grandma listens to you religiously. She
Oh,
loved you
love
so
that.
much.
Oh man, where's grandma from? Is she
Flint,
from Flint?
Michigan. Well,
Shout out to
she's
grandma too.
originally from Louisiana, but Flint, Michigan.
Oh, tell grandmother love to her as well. Loved her. So is it
I'm gonna answer your question, Robin. Two things could be right at the same time. God didn't put them on North America. It's just they migrated over here thousands of years ago. They migrated before the red natives were here. This is why, and I'm gonna say this: Africans were doing import and export with natives, red natives and black natives. You know, and some of those Africans stayed in different continents, South America and North America. You know, so yeah. Um, that's a good question. I mean, that was a good statement. I just wanted to clear it up a little bit. You talk about God. No, they migrated over there. They migrated there before the Vikings were over there. You know, because the Vikings were in North America too. You know, it's not that far from like was it parts of Asia and stuff. Because don't forget the Vikings were there. So yeah. Hey, what's going on, Cars? Shout out to you.
what's the weather like up there?
It's like 30 degrees right now.
God damn.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow, you look like it ain't even phasing you.
Yeah, it
You
ain't.
used to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you look like you used to that.
My daddy
Man.
side got some. His daddy white and his mama black. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, so some of that sulfur in your system
Yep.
still. Okay.
Mhm.
Love it. Love it. All right, beloved. Well, thank you so much, dear. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. All right. All right. Let's get some more folks in here. All right. We got a troll in here. Quabina. Oh, who's Quabina? Uh-oh. Is Quabina in the building? Somebody said a troll named Quabina is in here trolling. Where you at, Quabina? All right. Quabina, you in here trolling? All right, let me get some more folks in here. Let's try Tierra. Let's just try a bunch of folks. Let's throw something on the wall and see what we can do. Tierra, you in here? All right. Let's try Tierra, Stinkum, just a whole bunch of different people.
Also, too, Robin, don't forget, Vikings were black too. There were black Vikings. Yeah, there were black Vikings. So sorry to destroy your dream, but you got the dreads from somewhere, and not just. Yeah, there were black Vikings. Robin. Yeah, there were black Vikings.
Um, all right, who is this? That Tierra? Oh, yo, Tierra.
My bad. I
Uh,
accidentally got on.
Okay, you didn't mean to get on?
No, I didn't. But
Okay.
while I'm
Yeah.
here,
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to add something to what I saw you talk about with Joy Reid.
Yes.
There's a professor in Africa, and I was looking up some of this stuff about, like, the slave trade. Her
Uh huh.
name is Dr. Akusma Purby.
Okay.
And she wrote a book called The Indigenous History of Slavery in Africa. She is a professor, a historian over there in the University of Ghana. And she went through and not only got the records, like from the, mostly the Ashanti Empire, because that's where she's from. But
Yeah.
she also went through like the different villages and whatnot and got some of the oral history. And she breaks it down like how this was a well-running business for a
Oh yeah.
long time before
Oh yeah.
the Portuguese came first and all these different waves of it. But I think that's something that we don't ever hear. We don't ever hear their scholars talk about it. And there's videos of
Yeah.
her all over like YouTube.
Oh
So
wow.
it's just, and the book is called The History of Indigenous Slavery in Africa.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up and look into
Waves
that.
of
And
it,
thank
but
you.
I
But yeah, I've been breaking that down for the past couple of days. See, we got to check people because now some of those African nations are trying to spin the block on the reparations, and they're trying to be like, "Oh, we were victims too, so we need to join our brothers to get
think that's
reparations."
something that we
And I'm telling you, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work at all because they were way too complicit. Now, let's be very clear.
mhm.
All of the fault, I still put everything is on the white supremacists. Everything's on the Europeans. The bulk of the blame is on them. Let's be clear. I never take it off them because they were facilitating the whole transatlantic trade from Europe to Africa to the Americas. So they had a monopoly on that. But we got to stop giving them a pass over there in Africa.
Mhm.
And we ain't gonna just give them a pass and let them come around and act like they were just, oh, we were victims. They victimized us. They made us do it, nigga. Man, last time I was over there in Senegal, I'm up here again looking at these slave castles and slave dungeons, and I'm looking at the cannons. They got cannons at these spots, and the cannons are not pointed towards the inland. Them cannons are pointed at sea. The cannons are pointed out, and I'm putting two and two together. I'm like, wait a minute. Now, if there were some FBAs over here, and they were unjustly enslaving people, and we got cannons over here.
Mm,
Oh, we would have used them cannons. We just would have
yeah.
went in there and just start blasting everybody. Anybody pulled up, we would have just blasted them. I'm thinking how we would think. I'm like, why didn't you? Okay, you got these big ass cannons. You just start blasting anybody who come up here and try to enslave somebody. Just bop their ass up out of here. But then, okay, reality has to kick in. They weren't bopping them because yeah, they were working with them. Those cannons were for other Europeans who were fighting other Europeans. Yeah, the that that's what was going on. It was European powers fighting other European powers so they wouldn't come and steal their resources. You see, the brother that whooped the mayor of San Francisco's security detail. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that. Man. All right, let me get some more folks in here. Man. Yes, indeed. Who is this person here? We got a Senegalese flag. Okay, hop on in, Senegalese flag. Hop on in, sir. All right, hop on in. What's up, brother Wade from Jamaica? Shout out to Wade. All right, y'all. Raise your hand, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, raise your hand if you're ready to get on. Raise your hand if you're ready to get on. All right. Oh yeah, Mr. NY. Okay, you trolling in the chat room, Mr. NY. Hop on. Mr. NY, hop on. You're doing a lot of trolling. Mr. NY, I think you got a
Uh-oh.
Senegalese flag. Hop on. Hop on. We don't troll in the chat room. No, no, no. Hop on. You're not just going to say stuff in the chat room. You got to hop on. You're not going to troll in the chat room, sir. You got to hop on. That's what you got to do. All right. And I'm going to send you one more request. If you deny it, I'm going to personally block you. All right. If you deny the request, I'm going to personally block you. You're going to have to get on your other Finster account. All right. So you got 8 seconds to hop on, or I'm getting you out of here. All right. It is not an option. That is mandatory. Get on up here. All right. Or you're going to get tooted and booted. Because that's what y'all tethers are not going to do. Y'all like to just hide and say shit. We're not doing that. All right. Now get on up here. What's up, NY?
Not too bad. Like I mentioned, I just gotta excuse myself because I'm at work.
Yeah, but yeah, don't be trolling in the chat room just
Yeah,
saying
because we
shit. All
hear all
right.
the rhetoric and all the crazy talk, and what do you expect? Kisses and roses in return or in response. And again, I'm from Ghana, not Senegal.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, you over here now. You over here with us. So
I'm not
yeah,
in
you should be
America.
talking
Never
shit.
been.
Well, why is your name New York
It's
then?
not New York. It's NY, and anybody that knows where we come from knows what it means. But
What
it's
does
okay
this
for you guys
mean?
to think it's New York. I don't
It's
know how you guys came down to that conclusion. NY everywhere in the world means New York, but it's fine if you guys run with that.
well, yeah, that's what we normally see.
But
NY.
New York is not
You know.
America is not the only country in the world. You guys
Okay, what does NY stand for then?
again, people who know where I come from know exactly what it means.
What does it stand for?
It's a name. It's a name in Ghana.
What's the name?
And why? Like, what's so
What?
hard to
What?
understand? Like,
What?
people call me
Niggas
NY.
yelling? What does it stand for? Niggas yelling? What does it stand for?
It means NY, and that's all that it needs to be known for.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it means New York. Your ass.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. This that's a common thing when you ask Africans questions. I don't know if they feels like because they think we're calling them a liar. We're asking you a question so we can know what it means. Like this is why I said there has always been a disconnect with Africans and Black Americans. There always has been a disconnect, and the reason why is because what's going on. Fresh always. Shout out to you, player. Like there has always been a disconnect. Even with I'm gonna say this. There has always been a disconnect with Africans and blacks. Even when they got over here, we wore all that African shit just so they can feel comfortable because we thought we were their brothers and sisters and shit like that. And to them, they came over here for economic reasons. They didn't come over here to build with Black Americans and all this other crazy shit, all this goofy shit that Pan Africans want us to think. And it's all right. Again, it's all right, but they came over here for economic reasons. That's why when you ask them the questions like, "Yo, if you hate America, why are you over here?" And they'll say, "Oh yeah, it's for economic reasons," or they'll blame it on the government in their country. I say, if you're blaming it on the country and if you're blaming it on the government in your country, why are you trying to go back after you get your money up? That shit just doesn't make sense.
This is probably in New York, sir.
No,
You're not.
never been actually. In fact,
You're not in Ghana.
my
You ain't
parents
in
actually
Ghana.
lived in America a couple of years ago, and when
You're
things were
not in
getting rough
Ghana
and
though.
everything, they left and moved back home.
But you're not in Ghana.
I am in Ghana. Never been to America
You're not.
before, ever in my life,
So
ever.
are you in the UK
I
somewhere?
used to live in the UK.
Right. You're over there now. I don't
No,
believe you're in
I'm not.
Ghana.
I'm definitely not in the UK. Definitely not. I travel. I
You're not in
travel
Ghana.
across, world and wide to explore and experience different cultures,
No, no, no,
but
no,
definitely
man.
never been to America.
Now, yeah, again, I'm assuming you're in the UK. So what issue do you have with foundational Black Americans? Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Very good. So, as an African or Ghanaian, I don't think Africans, from my perspective, have an issue. You guys wanted to stand on your ground to say that we have always been here. In fact, I kind of support that kind of whole push. The issue is the rhetoric, the ignorance that come out of when you're having dialogue and having a conversation is where it becomes a problem. Because for a lot of Africans, I mean, we are aware of the challenges that are happening in Africa and the issue about no roads and electricity. We are fully aware of this and we are holding our government to task. Every day we'll be screaming louder about it. So to get Black Americans jumping on it and voicing this out is only going to be a win-win for any African country, because indeed it is a developing part of the world. That is a fact. When an African
What does that have to do with our lineage?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know what the issue is. The issue is it comes to the response. Again, for an African our perspective, again, considering that you guys live in the best world, the greatest country in the world, and yet there's so much oppression and systematic, disadvantages for a group of people. And you guys have the greatest opportunity. Indeed, you guys have been through so much and you guys have triumphed over the years again and again. And you guys know, again, that Africans get a lot of inspiration to voice out, to speak up and
What
stand up.
does any of this have to do with our lineage? It's just babble. I don't even know what you're talking
I'm
about.
explaining
What
to
does
you.
that have
I'm
to
explaining to you
You got to
where
get
the
to this
confusion
babble.
is. Because we
What
hear
does
the
it have to
rhetoric
do
coming out
with
from
our lineage?
FBAs about, Africa
Okay,
this,
okay,
Africa
no,
that.
no, no, no. Okay, rhetoric and lineage are two different things. You're conflating two different things. Some people will go off on you, most of us won't. That has nothing to do with our lineage.
Okay, so about the lineage, I just told you. If you ask me, I can agree that indeed Black Americans have always been there, because recently there's been a research that actually identified Quando, a Black American that happened to be in America even before slavery. And when they did the linking, they found out that this person must have come from somewhere in West Africa, Ghana, somewhere. So in fact, there are records to prove that indeed Africans did move wide and across way before even slavery. So if indeed Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, hold the position that they have always been in America even before others came in and they took advantage of them, indeed there's a possibility and there's fact to it.
Yeah, that's not even up for debate.
Yeah, so
Okay,
so
okay,
again,
yeah,
so
our
there's
lineage,
no issue
yeah,
about it as an
yeah,
African, for that matter.
okay, yeah, our lineage is not up for debate. But you keep talking about rhetoric. All right, those are two different conversations. Ghanaians have rhetoric. I've heard several Ghanaians call foundational Black Americans akadas. They try to palm that off on Nigerians. I've heard several Ghanaians do that, but there are a lot of Ghanaians who's cool.
Yep.
Should all Ghanaians be judged based on the rhetoric of people calling us
Very
akadas?
good point. And as a Ghanaian myself, my friends call me Akada, and it don't mean anything bad. It never meant to be. It's just until I got on TikTok that I found out that It's actually an offensive for Black Americans. You know,
Dude, don't do that, man.
no,
When
but
y'all
you
do
see,
that,
that's the thing. When you tell your truth,
man,
and even though you have never experienced it, you're gonna argue against it, and that becomes a problem.
man,
I
when
just
y'all
told
do
you that
that,
as a Ghanaian, and you can even Google it, search right now. Go search Akata.
goodbye. Yeah, when they start talking about Akata ain't really bad, have a good day. Have a good damn day. I ain't gonna listen to you lying in my damn face now. That's the problem right there, and that's why we delineate, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all not just gonna keep trying to lie in our damn faces. Goodbye. That's why we delineate. A cut is not a bad word. It's not a, if you look at the word, it's not, stop. It's a derogatory term. That's why the tethers don't ever want to be accountable for nothing.
Yep.
They do stuff and don't ever want to be accountable. They get to lying and splaining. That's why we're drawing a line in the sand. We're like, we don't give a damn how you feel, to be honest. All that whining and shit. I don't give a shit. Because our lineage is our lineage. Oh, the rhetoric, y'all got rhetoric too. And then you sit here making excuses for your rhetoric. I don't want to hear it. I don't make excuses. Yeah, I said you were musty goddamn tether. All right, you're a tether, nigga. Now what? All right, I said it. I ain't backpedaling. Yeah, some of you are tethers, some are not. All right, that's what it is. Some people, most of you are not tethers. I've met some people from Africa who are just wonderful people. Most of you are not tethers, but damn it, you got a tether class.
Hmm.
All right, and I'll let them know you acting like a damn tether.
Like we have a coon class, y'all have a tether class, and I'm gonna say this: to me, coon and tether is the same thing. No, it's the same thing if you ask me. What's going on, your highness? I just seen you join up here too. So what's going on? Shout out to you, player. You shout out to you and Fresh always. Um, but yeah, everybody has a tether or a coon class. It's just we just named your coon class because, as I said, the only thing I ever heard as a derogatory, as a close to a coon, as an African say calling another African an Afropean. That's the closest. So yeah.
You start lying and doing all that, that's tetherish. And I don't want it around me or around us. That is what it is. I'll stand on it. You called me a tether. Yeah, I called you a tether. You're a musty tether. All right? Get it? That means get it together. Don't sit here talking about it's a kata. A kata is not a bad thing. It is a compliment, nigga. Shut up. Man. Get out of my face. Get the hell out of my damn face. Get out of my damn face. Why I hate when they start just straight out lying like that. Yeah, don't do that. Man. All right, let me get some more folks in here. Jump 6 days to go, ladies and gentlemen. .com. He killed me with that.
Condition past, they want until the transatlantic slave trade, and that's where they amass a lot of wealth.
One thing that I think is unique about our culture as far as how we resist, how we fight back is just the environment we were put in from day one. Being only 13% of the population, the white supremacists were very meticulous about keeping that population at a certain amount.
There was never a period when we did not resist the encroachment of the white man.
They have a natural behavior of authority no matter where they go. That's why they'll step up in front of us in the line at the store. We're not important. They don't even see us.
We've never.
See, yeah, me. That's why I be cussing them out, man. I be cussing out a lot of white supremacists because I'm like, you. White bitch cut me off today in the road. I called her a pill-faced white bitch. You pill-faced white bitch. Watch where you go. And I was in their suburbs too, man. I had to go to the bank because my bank, the only bank I have is in their suburbs, or I have to go all the way up. So I just rather go to the suburbs and go get money out the bank, so I don't have to pay a fee. So I be cussing them the fuck out. Bitch, you see me? Bitch, you see me right here? I'm 5'11", 215. Don't act like you don't fucking see. Yeah, I'm a wild dude, man.
Ships coming here.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, talk to me.
There's a great book on that. They Came Before Columbus by Ivan Van Sertima. Von Woutenau is
Indians.
Black Native Americans. But again, you had travelers coming over here.
Right.
We knew how to sail. We had
Right.
ships. They looked at some of these Native American tribes and saw that they have Hebrew languages
Right.
in some of their native tongue.
Yeah, a good book is
And that's why I believe a lot of them black natives were Moors. They just adapted to that culture. You know, with the inventions, how they grew America, how America was before. You know, the white supremacists. Yeah, this is why I always said, because just listen to this part right here.
How to sail. We had
Right.
ships. They looked at some of these Native American tribes and saw that they have Hebrew languages
Right.
in some of their native.
A lot of those Moors were Hebrew. Yes, they considered themselves Israelites. This is why I always say. This is why I say what I say when people be like, "Oh yeah, they were Arab." No, I don't. Those people weren't Arab. And a lot of those Moors, those real Moors, I don't think they consider themselves African, because African is a white word. It's a white English word. You know, they like before the European went into Africa, they didn't consider themselves African. They considered themselves something else. You know, so yeah.
Tongue.
Yeah, a good book is Lost Tribes in Promised Land, where they actually spoke Hebrew.
Mhm,
And they knew what tribe they came from
Yep.
as far as being Israelites. And just to add, most people think the transatlantic slave trade started from Africa to America, but it started from America to Spain first, just
Right.
to back up what you're saying.
Mhm.
They took the
Whoa.
Taino Indians first.
Right.
They took 1,100 Taino Indians as a trial run. And out of that 1,100, 300 survived. And you know what they said? That's good business. And make sure your phone's on me. They said that's good business. And that became how the transatlantic slave trade started.
They was losing
800.
damn.
Just remember, you know, back
near
then, it was like a year and a
77%.
half voyage or something like that to
Right.
go along that.
So
And
wait. You telling me the first slave trade didn't come from Africa to America. It went from America to Spain.
And then they circled back around. Spain, the Spanish word for black is Negro. All right. So they started using the word Negro as a pejorative. When they brought them over here, the word Negro somehow flipped into nigger. It got shortened to nigger. And again, they had to dehumanize and use these terms as pejoratives for black people. Then it became a negative thing. There is no real definition to the word nigger. All right. That's the trick bag. That's why it flips people out so much, because when you label somebody something and you can't really define it, it throws them off. The word nigger has zero definition. Nobody can explain why it's negative. They say it's an ignorant person.
There you go. That's what I hear.
Right,
ignorant
right.
person.
But why, they're ignorant white people. How come they're not called niggas? You see? Nigger is a word that they throw at us, and when you can't define it, you put power on it. For example, critical race theory. That's a powerful thing they use in politics now. There's no definition to critical race theory at all. It's whatever they say it means at the moment. So whenever they put a name or title on somebody without any definition, they can control you. This is why it's important for us to control our culture, identify who we are and what our culture is, without letting.
So Tariq Nasheed has been saying this shit for like probably 4 to 5 years. He coined it, but Claude Anderson he's the father of delineation. I'm talking about Black American delineation. He is the father of controlling our culture, our economics, our communities. Claude Anderson was the father of that, you know, and there were other people like Frances Cress West. What was it? Frances Cress Welsh, I think her name is. There has been a lot of other people that were forefathers and mothers, because there were women that were teaching us. It's just, that's the difference between our culture and other people's cultures. A lot of people's cultures wouldn't let their women talk. You know, our women broke the boundaries for that. It wasn't the feminists. It was our women. You know, this is why, like, let's ask this question. Before, because Harriet Tubman died in 1913. Before Harriet Tubman, when has there ever been a black, I mean, a woman of a different ethnicity, and I'm talking about a white woman that did what um, Harriet Tubman did? We can name multiple black American women that has done great things, but a lot of white women, there's always a black face. There's always a black face.
Them label us.
Which is why I broke that word nigga down to show it's even used in the Bible, but it wasn't used in a derogatory sense to back up what he's saying. It wasn't a negative connotation as to how it is now. It's only a negative connotation now because of the stigma to whom they applying it to. So it's supposed to be the nigga is slow, the nigga's not intelligent, the nigga can't do this. But when I look at our history, 40 years removed from slavery, building the greatest civilized cities during the Great Depression. During the Great Depression in America, you got Black Wall Street, you got Seneca Village, you got Paradise in Detroit, you got all these cities that allowed to flourish. So when you say we're slow and stupid and we're unintelligent, it doesn't match up historically. HBCUs, historical black colleges, are black men and women that were able to build colleges during a time where we were supposed to be unintelligent. So we talking about the word nigga, I like how you said there's no definition of that word.
True.
We're African people racially. Ethnically, we are a different group. Ethnically, we're foundational black Americans. I acknowledge my African racial inherent DNA and the connection I have with other African descended people globally. We have a connection as far as intrinsic race and biology.
Yeah.
So I acknowledge that. No problem with that. When I travel to Africa or any other place where there are black people, I see a commonality with that.
And this is why I have issues with groups like FBA and ADOS, because if y'all really got a problem with immigrants, shouldn't you be attacking the biggest immigrant groups? There are twice as many Chinese as there are black immigrants. There are.
That's the thing about Dr. Umar. We're not attacking them. You know, if you notice, a lot of them are jumping into our spaces. You know, you don't really see a lot of like black Americans really taking their time out, jumping into these people's spaces. Only time these black Americans ever jump into these spaces is if they're fans of them. You know, and like Tasha K is somewhat of an immigrant, but if you ever notice, you know, only people who jump into her space trying to explain what foundational black Americans is her fans. You know, I think, and I'm gonna say this, Tasha K has an interesting point of view, but when she gets emotional, this is when shit goes left. She can't do what she did to Jason Lee that she did to black Americans. Because they'll drag her out on the internet because there's so many people that are doing this. Godfrey, another one, he can't do the same thing either because people will drag him out like they're doing right now. And like again, like I said, I don't think Godfrey said anything wrong. It's just I think what Godfrey does, he targets black Americans. And if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna have this kind of talk about black Americans, you should have a black American there. Like real talk. I don't see nothing wrong with what he's doing. Again, it's just there's never black Americans there defending each other. I mean, defending themselves. There's always a Nigerian. There's always a Ghana, Jamaican, Haitian, but there's never a black American. And this is why, at the end of the day, until this day, I still don't believe that you're doing this shit on purpose. But I understand why black Americans and foundational black Americans or foundational black Americans are mad. They should be mad. You're having these crazy conversations, and there's nobody there to defend Black Americans because it seems like you're villainizing Black Americans. That's what it looks like. You're villainizing Black Americans. We already know Arbach is doing it, because he has a. Let's really be honest. Arbach does not have a relationship with Black Americans like that. He might have a relationship with Black Americans that have money, but his family was probably telling him like, "Yo, stay away from them Black folks." So it's yeah.
5 times as many Latino as there are Black immigrants. You see this? There are what? 2 times as many East Indian immigrants as there are Black immigrants. So if your problem is immigrants and not just Black immigrants, where the smoke for the Chinese at? Because I ain't seen y'all yet. Because the same people screaming FBA and ADOS is giving their money to the Korean haircare shop. The same people screaming FBA and ADOS is eating at the white restaurants. The same people screaming FDA and ADOS is at the East Indian car dealership.
And this is where I say Dr. Umar is capping. Dr. Umar is capping and the reason why I'm saying he's capping because we shutting these places down. We're the only ones shutting these places down. And I'm gonna say this again. He's Pan-African. Where are the Pan-African communities telling us to shut this shit down? It has always been the Black American community saying that, like, yo, we all need to shut this shit down. And Black Americans is the only ones that usually shut the shit down. It's always the people from the Black diaspora that goes to these places, that target us, that keeps these people in business. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
So help me understand. African immigrants are your enemy, but every other immigrant is okay to take your money. That is a complete contradiction. Any Black person talking to me about a Black immigrant being a problem and you got a $500-600 weave on your head that you bought from a Korean hair care store, you are a political hypocrite. 100%. If you're going to have a problem with immigrants, have a problem with all of them, not just the ones that look like you.
Something is happening across the Black diaspora that we cannot afford to ignore. For South Africa's Our People First conversations, to the growing emphasis on foundational Black American identity, one question keeps coming up. Are we becoming more divided, or are we simply beginning to define who we are? Today we're talking about the diaspora war, FBA versus Africans. But this isn't about choosing sides. Please, don't get me wrong. This isn't about choosing sides. It's about understanding where these tensions are coming from and asking whether different Black histories have to become a reason for Black people to fight each other every time. Hi faves, welcome back to the Peace Angle, where the story meets perspective. It's your girl, Peace. To my returning subscribers, you are welcome. And if you are here, you're most welcome. If you're here for the first time, you're most welcome. Don't forget to subscribe.
I'm gonna answer her question. Her question: are we more divided, or we are finding out what our identity is? I'm gonna say 2 things can be right at the same time. We always have been divided. It's just Black Americans is actually finally seeing that we have always been divided, but collectively. This isn't nothing new, but collectively we are always seeing it because we always supported Africa. We always supported the Caribbeans. We always supported the Latinos and Afro-Latinos. We always supported the Asians, the Indians. We all thought we were a big family, and that's how Black Americans was. This is why we fought for, was it the 13th or the 14th Amendment for the diaspora? That's why, and the thing about it, one thing Trump was right, it was for Black Americans. People who had ancestors from chattel slavery. That's what that was for. That wasn't for people to come over here to this country and get value from it. It's just it is what it is. It was never for nobody else. It was always technically for us. But the thing about it, when you have these Democrats, talking for Black Americans, and again, this is why a lot of Black Americans turned on the Democrats, because we have been supporting them for 60 to 80 years, and they haven't given us anything. They have fought for everybody else except Black Americans, and we're the biggest supporters. So, yeah, she is right. It's we're all divided, but at the end of the day, Black Americans are figuring out who they really are.
Like, and comment. Credit to the original stitches and clips we have in these episodes. I'll be rolling out some clips and I would be back with my perspective.
Black Americans have a very unique relationship with the identity of blackness. And many of you in the African diaspora globally don't truly understand why that is. The United States of America is the only country in the world where the native black population, which are Black Americans, those descendants of those formerly enslaved people, in this country have to live amongst every single person in the African diaspora. Every single Black person from around the world is represented in America, lives in America, and can be American. So when you have a nation that is welcoming of all people, and in a couple of generations you become Nigerian American, Sudanese American, Ghanaian American, what does that mean for the native black population that has been here since the 1600s, that has fought for their rights, fought for their representation, fought for their seat at the table? And without the fight of Black Americans, nobody else in the diaspora would be able to be here. There are Black Americans that actually did leave and fled America during slavery times. That went to Dominican Republic, Haiti, Panama, Canada, Liberia. There's a lot of Black Americans other places, but 99% of Black Americans are still in America. I'm actually a product of that, which is how my last name is Duncan, because my great-great-great-grandfather is a man that was from America and landed in Haiti. So when we get things like,
But you're Haitian, buddy. You're Haitian. And it's cool is you're Haitian, buddy. Your parents was fucking Haitian. You had an admixture of black indigenous and Haitians, people from Africa. There's nothing wrong with it. This is the thing, and I want to know why all of these people feel bad. I want to know why all these people have to feel like they have to hide their culture, their lineage. You're Haitian, you're Haitian. You don't have to, attach yourself to Black America. Black America is a whole different world compared to like Haiti and Dominican Republic, even Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is an American territory. Puerto Rico got their own like culture, even though it's American territory. They have their own culture. They have their own. They're totally different, and I think people should respect that. And this guy right here trying to. My great grandmother ran from America to fucking Dominican, to Republic that we call Haiti. Like my nigga, come on, let's stop that. Let's stop that.
foundational Black American, or ADOS, original descendants of slaves. In theory, these things make all the sense in the world. When you have a country where the foundational people of America are those original European settlers, those formerly enslaved Black Americans, and Native Americans are the only three groups that are foundational Americans. The only country where the foundational people of America are those original European settlers, those formerly enslaved Black Americans, and Native Americans are the only three groups that are foundational Americans. The waters get muddy when now Black people from the Caribbean, Black people from Africa are represented in spaces that Black Americans never have been. Congress, ownership, businesses, homes, and there's a lot of reasons why those of you from around the diaspora come to America, because a lot of people flee countries and they're looking for greater economic opportunities. And when you're not taught the history of America, you don't understand that Black Americans have consistently and continuously built their own institutions, built their own banks, built their own towns, built their own schools, built everything. And America has consistently burned it down. White people got jealous, white people didn't like it, so they burned down. That's how we have Tulsa, that's how we have Rosewood, that's how we have the slew of massacres that have occurred in America, where financial centers and the wealth of Black America has continuously been burned down and stripped of those people. Where it gets tricky is that as of late, a lot of the FBA movement online has presented itself using the same tactics and the same rhetoric and ideologies as white nationalism and white conservatism, and it gets dangerous. The talking points are extremely xenophobic. The language used, just the vitriol that's spewed out about.
So when people say this, you have to explain what they are saying. You know, because what he's doing right now is just selling wolf tickets. What vitriol? What have they said? You know, because what you heard is probably new, and not everybody's saying that. You just. This is why I said, like, yo. This is why I said a lot of the stuff that a lot of these people are saying is dangerous, and this misinformation. It has always been misinformation. Now let's see. Let me give him another chance. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. See if he's gonna explain it.
Immigrants and about those who aren't foundational Black Americans. The language used, just the vitriol that's spewed out about immigrants and about those who aren't foundational Black Americans, it's kind of crazy. So when you have Black people who don't ascribe to that movement, who don't ascribe to that identity, as you guys called it, that ethnicity or marker, it is something where people from around the world don't understand how a few people in America are the loudest ones online. And in real life, you don't meet people in America who are like, I'm FBA. Like, you don't meet that. Guess where birthright citizenship came from? Us. Workplace discrimination, not being able to fire people based on sex, religion, gender, or color. Us. There's so many things Black people fought for that all Americans benefit from. But during this Black History Month, I think there's so much to be learned about one another. But I think the largest disconnect and the largest miscommunication that happens online is that we're all talking to each other, thinking that we understand each other's place and dispositions on certain things, like Blackness. And we try to flatten Blackness to make it mean one thing, where being Black in every country is different. Being Black around the world is different. And we all have unique experiences, unique cultures, and unique histories. And we need to uplift those cultures, histories, and experiences. Because the more we talk.
So I want to say this again. He didn't explain what Black Americans have been saying. When you're just vague and say, oh yeah, they're divisive, they're using white nationalism ideology. What white nationalism? What white nationalism ideology they've been using? You can't just say that. We want to know, what is it called? What did they say? What are they saying? So this is why I say I have a problem with people saying that white supremacist ideology or white nationalism ideology, and you're not explaining what type of nationalism, what white nationalism are they saying? You know, because right now, like I said, it's like you selling wolf tickets. Nigga, we don't know what you're talking about. You know, and I'm going to say this, a lot of these people are saying this shit out of fear. The white supremacist does that shit all the time. Remember when Donald Trump was back in office, what they were saying? Niggas is going back into slavery. They were saying stupid shit like that. Niggas is going to be picking cotton again. This is the dumb shit that the Democrats will say. This is the dumb shit that the black diaspora is saying now. They're saying this shit out of fear, and we've been telling them for years that that shit is not going to happen. They might fuck your money up, but you're going to the extreme while you say niggas is acting like the KKK, white nationalism, white supremacists. You're talking crazy. Just because a Black American wants to identify as something else and don't want to be a generic African. You know, come on, let's keep on going.
Talk about our differences as Black people, just the more we understand each other. Because right now, with all that's evident online, we do not truly understand each other, and I think we need to start attempting to understand each other. Much love.
How do we keep falling for the same old traps that these colonizers set for us centuries ago? This whole FBA versus African lunacy is a textbook example of how the colonizer pinned us against each other and ran away with the bag. And once again, we're not asking ourselves the right questions. Instead of arguing over whether or not black Americans are indigenous to America, we should be asking ourselves who benefits when the black diaspora is at war with itself. Because it's certainly not us. Now let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with celebrating our differences and having pride in where we come from across the diaspora. But when those differences are weaponized to spread hate and misinformation, it's deep.
But this is the thing: how is it spreading weapon? How is it being weaponized and it's being hate? If the white supremacists is fighting us, if the black diaspora is fighting us, if these African organizations fighting us, how is it? Only time it's only. I always tell people this: only time things is weaponized is when other people benefit from it. Black Americans has really never benefit from anything collectively. You know, integration, we didn't benefit from that because our communities were fucking broken. People were infiltrating our communities. Anytime black Americans build a community, they'll kick us out the community. Whenever some shit is a money play, they'll kick black Americans out. They have been doing that shit for the last what, 150, 200 years. That's why California is the way it was. You know, come on, let's keep on going.
Deeply detrimental to our communities. Now here's the part that's really important. The West is extremely dependent on the destabilization of the black diaspora. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's documented history. There's countless examples of how colonial powers marginalized people of color and created a hierarchy based on skin tone and proximity to whiteness. Then our communities inherited this hierarchy and decided to create our own hierarchy within a hierarchy, just so we can feel better about being marginalized, which is insane. It's like we never learned. Just because you think you can get closer to whiteness, or in this case, further away from being African, does not mean you get a better seat in.
So I want to ask this question: Where was this? Where was this divisiveness when Africans were doing it? Where was this divisiveness when these Caribbeans were doing it? When they were delineating from us? When we say, "Yeah, y'all are right," you know what? Yeah, we're Black Americans. Y'all niggas aren't black. Y'all niggas is Caribbean Americans. Y'all niggas is African Americans. Y'all niggas is Afro Latinos. You know, when we agreeing with you now, all of a sudden it's divisive. Y'all the ones who created this problem. Y'all gotta look at it like this. Y'all niggas created this problem. Black Americans was out here wearing dashikis, you know, selling Egyptian musk fucking incense. Now all of a sudden we dropped the dashikis and the kufis, you know, and took control of all the things that we created. We invented, you know, the whole 9 yards. We took control of it, and now y'all are mad. Y'all can't get mad at some shit y'all started. This is why I asked the question: should Africans pay reparations to the Caribbeans? You know,
In this boat of oppression, you're still at the bottom of the boat, rowing like the rest of us, while the people up top benefit from our infighting and our labor. This is why I firmly believe that pan-Africanism is not optional. It's the only serious path for political, economic, and cultural power in our diaspora. And before you come and tell me that unity on this grand scale is impossible, look at what the colonial powers did with their efforts. They coordinated across continents to conquer, extract, and protect their own interests. So why are we the only ones that think that organizing around our own interests is unrealistic?
There's a bunch of diaspora wars going on right now, and a lot of black American people are telling a lot of African people we're not African, and delineating from African people. But one thing that's crazy about we're not African stuff is that black Americans themselves accepted being called African American. Like, African people never woke up one day and said, we're going to start calling black Americans African American. Do you get what I'm saying? This goes back to my original point I made in one of my last videos about the diaspora wars. They take out stuff on the people closest to them because they can't actually fight their real bully, their real oppressor. Like, you should be taking that out on the people who said you're African American then. African people never came and said, we're going to start calling you African American. You know what I'm saying? So why is it that you're taking it out on them for you being called African? You see, it goes back to what I'm saying.
These FBA conversations are just white supremacy in black skin. This is white supremacy. If you feel the need to not only separate yourselves from other black people, but put them beneath you, to the point where you have an AI photo of you sitting on a throne as a true black American, you're just a white supremacist in black skin. That's what you are. Instead of acknowledging that there are different ways to be black and there are different types of black people, you are trying to disqualify Africans and put yourself above them.
Honey, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. It's not that serious. Some of y'all are blowing this way out of proportion and making this into something that it's not. Repackaged white supremacy. Black Americans, foundationally Black Americans, never said, generally speaking, I can't speak for every single solitary individual, but generally speaking, Black Americans are not saying that we think that we're better than other groups that label themselves as Black, right? And let's be for real, most non-Americans or immigrants who've come here from other places were never labeling themselves as Black. They were actually offended by the term. So we're still kind of in a bit of a culture shock by the fact that there's so many people now trying to identify themselves as Black. So because we're saying that we're our own separate group, just like everybody else says that they're their own separate group, that means that we think that we're better than everybody else. So does that mean that everybody else who points out their differences means that they think that they're better than us? I mean, because by your logic, that would be the only thing that could possibly make sense. The reason why a lot of Black Americans don't respect pan-goofyism anymore is because you guys will try to play monkey in the middle, but you only check one side. If you think disrespect is coming from Black Americans, then you immediately jump on it, jump on top of it, and check it and try to put us in some type of place. But if it comes from the other side, you turn a blind eye as if nothing is even going on. Case in point, let's take a look at this trend from back in 2022 of don't call me African American.
Tell me what the fuck, tell me what the fuck. Why they ain't up in this, why we coming up? Correct me if I'm wrong, they ain't give a fuck. Now we some stuff that I none on, dirty third, dirty EA third I none, cut that third. I'm looking at the news like what the fuck. I'm standing at the pond, I don't see no.
Yo, them eyebrows is crazy, my nigga. Yo, mama, what are you doing? Who told you you was fly with them shits on? Girl, you bugging. Yo. Shout out to you, yo. You brave for doing some shit like that.
Cut that third. I'm looking at the news like what the fuck. I'm standing at the pond, I don't see no ducks. They all say they black, but they ain't none of.
So where were the pan goofies when this was a trend, or when the plethora of other trends just like it, or statements or videos just like it are made from the other side, since you guys try to pretend like you're playing monkey in the middle, even though you always only take one side of the equation into account. So, you know, this is not considered to be, you know, a, I don't know, divisive thing, right? That this is not divisive, making it seem like it's an insult to be classified as what they like to call as African American, right? That's cool. It's fine for them. That's cool, right? But if we say, you know what, we good, we over here, we doing our own thing, we FBA, we're foundationally Black American, we're proud, we don't need to be classified as African, then it's a problem.
I really gotta ask yourselves, without Black Americans, what identity would these other groups of people have, especially Africans and Caribbeans? What would they identify, like, what would be their place on the world stage if it wasn't for hip-hop, R&B, jazz, the way that Black Americans dress, the way that we talk, our slang? What in the world would their world stage position be? They would just have the identity given to them by white people, literally. They haven't created any real culture of their own. They haven't stood out on their own. When people say Black, they think about Black Americans. We're so big that we took over a color. That's how big we are. When you think of white, you think of white Americans, and you also think of people from Europe. When you think of Black, you think of specifically Black Americans and Black American culture. That's not normal. We're a very big group of people. We're big spiritually. We are the only group of people connected to God.
I just want to let everybody know. Wait, let me cross my legs. We are not Africans. We never came from Africa. We have no connection to Africa. We have always been here. This is our ancestral land. Chattel slavery did not happen, whatever you like to call it, chattel slavery.
I don't know who said that. This is why I say, yo, people would just be making up shit. And this is why I said this is what happened when you don't police your people. I How long I've been telling y'all to police y'all people? I've been telling y'all that shit for a very long time. I've been saying like, yo, it should have never got this bad if y'all policed y'all people. Y'all didn't want to, so shit went left. Black Americans don't want to deal with your bullshit no more. You know, them niggas is on a different type of these niggas on a different type of timing. You know, so come on.
The triangle trade, transit. They didn't take people from always been here. We are the Mayans, we are the Aztecs, or cherry thing. We've always been here. You see my nose? And listen up. So you using so indigenous America. You've always been here.
Like that shit sounds crazy, but there was chattel slavery. And it's just and if you're talking about like from Africa, it was only 4%. But there was already chattel slavery here, you know? But the difference between us and like just regular countries is that a lot of us fought. A lot of us revolts. There was so many revolts. This is why they wanted us, not in slavery. They put the wrong motherfuckers in slavery. That's why when they sent black Americans to other countries, they send them back because we're too violent. We already had a taste of blood in war. It's like, and I hate using this topic, but let's say like, yo, you bought a Komodo dragon. A Komodo dragon been biting, killing people for the last 10 years, and you send them in with other Komodo dragons who are just new to this shit. That Komodo dragon is gonna teach other people how to kill if they don't have that killer instinct. These black Americans you just took from chattel slavery already been in war. They already know how to spit in your water and poison you, doing hoodoo and all this other shit, cutting your neck while you're asleep, revolting. You don't want to stick those type of people in like Jamaica and these Latin countries and stuff like that. They're already submissive. You don't want to send a person who's already came from war to these countries that you're trying to dehumanize. This is why they say we are different. This is why they get mad. This is why the white supremacists get mad at black Americans when we don't listen. We be like, yeah, y'all niggas don't know what you talk. They got mad at black Americans last year when Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck, and we didn't want to debate them. They were coming in barbershops trying to gaslight us, trying to make us feel bad that we didn't want to debate them. Like, nigga, go home, nigga. Don't you got wife and kids, nigga? The fuck you want to debate me for? This is what type of power we have.
We have always been. Y'all not gonna destiny swap with us again.
An American. That hairline told me she wasn't American. The way she was acting too ghetto. We been half black FBA politicians that ain't never act that.
They calling Jasmine Crockett from Haiti. Probably, man. I'm gonna say this. I personally, I don't think she's from America, but at the end of the day, I don't have no receipts, so I have to say she's Black American. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to say she's Black American because I have no receipts to saying that she's something else. But at the end of the day, the shit that she does is suspicious. It's very suspicious coming from a black woman. How are you fighting for other people and not fighting for Black Americans? And you're telling Black Americans to fight a battle that has nothing to do with them. Immigration's problems have nothing to do with Black Americans. Whenever Black Americans have problems, we will by ourselves. And I'm gonna say this: a lot of people are gonna have to learn how to fight by themselves or be inclusive with others. You know, it's a, that's why I'm not saying that she's. I'm not saying that she's foreign. I don't even have a problem if she is foreign. That's the thing. The problem I have is if she's not, you shouldn't cosplay of being a Black American because it's very offensive.
Ghetto. Gwen Moore is on the Senate floor for Wisconsin. That woman ain't never acted ghetto like that. Jasmine Crockett is Haitian.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
One of the worst things about these movements online is that the majority of the people who are pushing this rhetoric forward do not have a grasp on history, like proper historical context, timelines, facts, and reality, and they just speak in these absolutes that make no sense. In the 1800s, with the Haitian Revolution happening, tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people fled the island of Saint-Domingue, and that included freemen who were mulatto mixed race people, some black enslaved people, and a lot of French people, and then went to Louisiana, which was still.
So this is what we have a problem with. He's saying some Black Americans. That's not collectively. He's making it seem like it was a collective thing that a whole bunch of Black Americans did. It's like when Pan-Africans are saying a whole bunch of Black people are going to Africa. No, the fuck they're not going to Africa. Why would they want to go to a third world country if they live in a first world country? That shit just doesn't make sense. But I'm gonna say this. Maybe let's say he was right. Let's say he was right. You know, I'm gonna play along. Let's say he was right. Louisiana is. Let's say he was right. 1804 has nothing to do with Black Americans. That shit didn't set anything off because Black Americans has always fought. Black Americans have never signed any treaties. We have never signed no treaties. We never. We're so resilient that they had to just like, yo, let's let these niggas out. Fuck it. Let these motherfuckers out. It's just too much. We're losing too much money. We will make motherfuckers go broke fucking around with us. Yes. But Haitian Revolution has nothing to do with Black Americans lineage or resilience. You know, that shit has nothing to do with us.
Part of the French new colony of the Americas, and then went to Louisiana, which was still part of the French new colony of.
But that shit has nothing to do with Haiti. That's the thing. That's what France. A lot of these people do. They try to compare France colonies with Haiti. That shit ain't got nothing to do. Them niggas went broke fucking around going to war with y'all. But that shit ain't had nothing to do with Black Americans because it made it worse for Black Americans because they expanded. When they sold Louisiana, they expanded the slave trade. They made new colonies for the slave trade. You know, only thing you can say is that Haiti made it worse for Black Americans. Yo, expanded the slave trade. What do you mean?
The Americas. Those people were assimilated into that society, and that obviously eventually became part of the Louisiana Purchase, and all those people became Black American and American. But to insinuate that she is Haitian because her family came here centuries ago, which is so ridiculous to begin with, you don't understand how the transatlantic slave trade worked, do you? Because do you think that all the slaves that came to America came from Africa? No. A lot of the slaves that came to America came via the Caribbean, meaning that the British brought slaves to Barbados, Jamaica, and those two were a stopping ground for them sending slaves to America. So if your family comes from North Carolina or Virginia, you most likely have an ancestor that came from Barbados or Jamaica.
He won't give up. He won't give up, man. This is why I have a problem with a lot of these people because they're always trying to compare our. They try to trauma bond with us. I don't want to try, and I tell people all the time, I don't want to trauma bond with you. I don't care. I'm trying to handle my own problems. Why would I want to hear about your problems? Just handle your own problem. This is what Black Americans are saying. Just handle your own problems. Stop calling us. Stop calling us whenever when there's a problem.
Estimates are
So, but we tired. We tired of the bullshit. Just handle your own shit. That's all we're saying. We ain't saying we hate you. We ain't saying, oh, yo, this all, this, that, and the other. We just saying, just handle your own problems. Yeah, we're not gonna be marching with you. We're not gonna be protesting with you. We're not gonna be looting with you. That is your problem. And I have been telling that with everybody. And I said, this is the difference between African French. I mean, Africans that live in France, the French Africans, and Africans that live in America, the American Africans. And I said American Africans because they're citizens. Well, some of them are illegal Africans. The difference between them and the Africans that live in France is that the Africans hold up the French flag. No matter what they did to their country, no matter how they act towards them, they tell the French, the white Frenchmen, that they are French too. They are not the only French that live in France. That's the difference. But when you come into America, they are very entitled where they think like, oh, you know what? Let me hold up my country's flag. No, nigga, that shit doesn't work like that. You're giving the white supremacists a whole reason to send your fucking ass back. I'm just being honest. You give him a whole reason to send your ass back. First of all, you don't want to follow the rules. Second of all, you don't want to go through the system. Fourth of all, even if the system is hard, you got to respect the system. Fifth of all, you bringing all your bullshit with you. Real talk. Oh, sorry, everybody.
upwards of 100,000 slaves at the time came from the Caribbean, with Barbados and Jamaica being the number one focal points for the springboard of slavery. I'd pose you this question. Are those black people who are black American, who have been in the Americas since the 16, 17, 1800s in Virginia and North and South Carolina, are they not black American because their ancestors came from?
Let's say this. They're not going to be able to. They're not going to even find if their ancestors was from Barbados or Jamaica coming to America. And don't forget, there wasn't even a lot. Let's look this shit up. Give me a second, everybody. Okay, so they said the British expand the sugar plantation economy and imported hundreds of thousands of enslaved people. Records show over 1 million embarked directly from Africa during the slave trade. Through roughly 200,000 of them were late exported to other parts of America. So they only said 200,000 people. This is why a lot of us black Americans is tired of this shit. I just read it. And this is just Jamaica. They said almost 1.2 million to Jamaicans ports, you know? But look at it. He said they were redirected. Look at it. Records show over 1 million disembarked directly from Africa during the slavery era. Through roughly 200,000 of them were later re-exported to other parts of America. So it wasn't 1 million that went to North Carolina and Virginia. That's a lie. So this is the part that this is the hold on. Let me get this part off right here. Give me a second, everybody. I know y'all can't see it. This part right here, and I'm out to right there. Records show over 1 million disembarked directly from Africa during the slave era. Through roughly 200,000 of them were later re-exported to other parts of the Americas. That's what it's saying. So that means that man is lying. Let's listen to him again.
From Barbados Board of Slavery comes for a slaves to Barbados, Jamaica, and as do you think that all the slaves that came to America came from Africa? No. A lot of the slaves that came to America came via the Caribbean, meaning that the British brought slaves to Barbados, Jamaica, and those two were a stopping ground for them sending slaves to America. So if your family comes from North Carolina or Virginia, you most likely have an ancestor.
And hold on, that was only just in Jamaica. That was only in Jamaica. So Barbados, they didn't send that much. This is why we gotta stop these people from lying, man. We gotta stop these people from lying, man. I had to stop it because this man is lying, and this is why I said, like, you know what? You gotta show the facts, man. You can't just say something and say, "Oh yeah, 1 million people went from Jamaica to went from Jamaica to they took Jamaican slaves and Barbados slaves to North Carolina and South Carolina." That shit is not true. He said they sent 1.2 million slaves to Jamaica. Then they said roughly 200,000 of them went to America or Americas. So they probably sent them to other parts of America. And when they say Americas, they could have been sent to Haiti, they could have been sent to Barbados, they could have been sent to Brazil, because that's still Americas. This African guy taught me that. He taught me, he said, yo, when you say Americas, America can be North America, South America, Central America, the Latin American, Latin, was it Central America, that they could used to consider, was it Latin something? Yeah, so we got to stop these people from lying. But let's keep on going.
That came from Barbados or Jamaica.
Just say, hey.
Oh no.
Black people were here in America prior to.
As a black person, I think it's.
Let me help you out. You're not a black person, Toby. Number one, you're looking at crime data, supposedly, from the United States of America. Those are foundational black Americans. That's a different ethnic group. You're a Nigerian young man. So that is comparable to someone being Chinese and saying, well, you're not a foundational black American, you're Chinese. You're from a totally different place. So why are you so concerned with what's going on with the foundational black American? Are you a foundational black American?
I mean, not by the definition. No, I'm in the UK.
No, there's not. What do you mean by definition? You're not. You're not in any way. You have no connection to the foundational black American. That's like saying an Italian and a German are the same because they're both white. They're not the same. Would you agree?
No, the same.
Yeah, no, they're not the same. One's Italian, one's German. They're different ethnic groups. Categorically, yes, they're both white, but they're unrelated. And in fact, when you look, say, take the British, since you're in UK, the British and the Germans, they're both white, correct?
Yeah.
But they're not the same, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. So you're a Nigerian. I'm a foundational black American. We're not the same. So why the hell are you so concerned about what we're doing? You're only focused on black people. Why are you only focused on black people?
What is really happening? March and March says its campaign is about enforcing immigration and municipal laws, not race or nationality. And they also say those laws should apply to everyone. Now, critics, however, have raised concerns about xenophobia and the treatment of
Music and fashion.
African immigrants, please. Sorry. And this is where the conversation becomes bigger than South Africa. Because FBA advocates are also saying, don't erase our specific history. The FBA argument is fundamentally about historical lineage. And the particular experience of Black Americans, whose ancestors endured U.S. chattel slavery, segregation, and long-term consequences of those systems. Saying FBA have a distinct history doesn't mean Africans don't have a distinct history. You get? Now, if South African can say South Africa is our home, can FBA say America is our ancestral home? If Africans can defend their national identity, why should FBA be criticized for defending their historical identity? At the same time, does defending FBA identity requires us to disrespect Africans? Absolutely not. There are different experiences within the Black diaspora. We have African national identities, Caribbean identities, African American identities. Name it. FBA specific lineage argument, immigrants, Black immigrants' identity. They're much. So being Black does not automatically mean everyone has the same history, nationality, culture, or political interest. Here's why I think we need to slow down. Because we have reached a point where saying I am African can be interpreted as an attack on somebody else. Saying I am FBA can also be interpreted as an attack on Africa. But why? South Africans have every right to discuss what happens inside South Africa. And FBA have every right to discuss what happened to their ancestors in America. Those are not the same historical experiences. An African immigrant arriving in America today does not suddenly inherit the exact history of an FBA family whose ancestors lived through America's slavery and segregation. And an FBA person cannot claim to fully understand the experience of someone born and raised in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, and any other African nation. Different experiences, different histories, different identities. But here's where I disagree with the idea that those differences have to become a war. It mustn't. We can say this is my history without saying your history doesn't matter. I've been saying this countlessly in most of my commentary videos. We can defend our people without dehumanizing somebody else's people. We can discuss immigration without attacking Africans.
Shout out to Peace Angle. I get you, Mama, but that's too much.
Start talking about you from.
So we're gonna watch this, and this is Tetherman's talking crazy. This is how all this stuff starts, and this is why people can't handle anything by themselves. So this is why we get what we get.
Able to say any other country just than America itself. Like somebody can ask you where you're from, and you could probably say, yeah, I'm Guyanese, or I'm African, or I'm Jamaican. You could go start talking about the culture, then the food, they talk about the dancing, they talk about the clothes. It just hits different when you can show and say that you're part of an actual culture. Don't get me wrong. Nothing is wrong about being from America, but it's just boring. Like to say, hey, yeah, I'm from America. Like there's no vim, there's no energy, there's no excitement with it. Like what language do you speak? When we speak English, it just sounds ugh. But to say that you're African, or to say that you're Ghanaian or Nigerian, to say that you're Jamaican, like have you ever seen two Jamaicans meet? Like, I'm gonna call you from Jamaica. Like it's just the energy is just there. Like the energy is just there. But when two Americans meet, it's like, oh, you're American, oh, American too. What state? It's like, But when two Nigerians meet, oh, you're from Igbo. Like you're but like the energy is just there. The village is just there. You start smiling. You start talking about the places back home. You start talking about the culture. You start talking about the food. Like everything just hits different when you're part of a culture. Like God did this big on making sure that I was Ghanaian. I'm African. I'm Ghanaian. So God did this big on making sure that I was part of a culture. Like once again, don't get me wrong, being American is cool. You know, I'm blessed to be from this country. I'm blessed to be born in this country. But it just hits different when I'm able to see somebody else as African and I can relate to them. It's like being in your own world. You know, it's like being in your own entity, your own space. You speak your specific language, different foods, different clothes, different cultures, different practices. Like everything is just like in real life feels like.
So this sounds like an emotional rant to me. Like maybe he probably heard somebody say something that pissed him off, so he decided to make a video that was kind of.
We're gonna watch half of this because we got to do a show tomorrow.
Of throwing shade at Americans, probably really black Americans, but without actually saying that. So, because I think it's pretty obvious. But my thing is this: so whenever I hear people say stuff like this, I just be thinking to myself, "But you're here, though. Like you're, like you talk about how it's boring. There's no culture. There's no language, and whatever. However you feel, who cares? Whatever. But you're here. Like your peoples chose this country to immigrate to. All of those other countries that you were talking about, you could pick up and immigrate to one of those places. I mean, nobody's stopping you. If you want to experience culture in the way that you see culture, then you could very much do that. I mean, you don't have to be here. It's like people think that they throwing shade at us when they say stuff like that, and we just be looking at them like, but you're here. And my thing is, with people who keep saying that foundational black Americans are so divisive and we're the ones who are starting all of this shit, do y'all just not see these videos at all? These videos just don't come up on your FYP? Or are you too busy in their comment section agreeing with them? Because I went through the comment section and most of people who are not American were agreeing with what he's saying, but yet we're the ones who are xenophobic and divisive. That's interesting. So is it really that America doesn't have any culture? Or is it that you really just don't like Americans, but you don't really want to say that because you kind of look a little bit stupid, seeing as that you're choosing to live here?
Let Us See sung the national black anthem. John Batiste sung the national anthem. Kendrick Lamar, K-Dot, performed at the halftime show with all black dancers who were dressed in red, white, and blue. They formed themselves into the American flag and sent multiple messages throughout the entire performance about what it means to be black in America. And there were other messages weaved throughout the performance that I'm still breaking down. Samuel L. Jackson narrated the entire thing, dressed as Uncle Sam. Serena Williams made an appearance and danced. My wife SZA performed.
You said my wife SZA.
The revolution was televised. The revolution was televised, and it was televised on one of the largest stages ever.
Black Americans, lock in. This is serious. Give yourself a second. You ready? Fried catfish, spaghetti, corn on the cob, Hawaiian roll, banana pudding. That's the left side. Right side, blackened salmon, red beans and rice / red rice, depending on your region, collard greens, cornbread, yellow cake, chocolate icing. Right side. Make your decision. Again, I say this is serious.
I'm gonna lie, God did this big one making sure that I was part of an actual culture. Like, it's just a good feeling when somebody asks you where you're from, and you're able to say any other country just in America itself. Like, somebody can ask you where you're from, and you could probably say, yeah, I'm Guyanese, or I'm African, or I'm Jamaican. They could go to start talking about the culture, then the food, they talk about the dancing, they talk about the clothes. It just hits different when you could show and say that you're part of an actual culture.
Saying all that while living in America is crazy. It's also crazy that you said God did his big one. Did his big one? Isn't that BAVE, Black American Vernacular English? I don't believe that comes from your culture. I believe that is Black American culture, is it not? Ebonics is Black American culture, right? Even then, I don't believe you know where you come from. You say Ghana, but I don't think you can trace your ancestors or trace your lineage. Let's go lineage for lineage, ancestor for ancestor, paperwork for paperwork, document for document. Let me see your census records. I'll show you mine. Let's see birth records, death records, military records. I don't believe you can do that. And if you can't do that, you don't know where you're from. However, Black Americans can do that. We can prove who we come from and where we come from. Thus, we can also prove our culture. Because y'all told us oral history don't count. So, fuck all y'all oral history. That's for everybody. Let's go paperwork for paperwork. Let's have a paperwork party. And I'm not talking about the prison style. I'm just talking about proving your lineage.
And so, like, all the Black Americans out there, please do not let these people tell you don't have no damn culture. Not only do you have a culture, you are the culture, my love. You're the culture. They tell you this so, number one, they can benefit from your culture. And number two, they don't have to credit you for benefiting from your culture. Please do not let them brainwash you and tell you ain't got no damn culture, babe. You know who the f*** everybody we stealing from.
And when a Black person says that we're the blueprint, we're not saying that we've made everything. What are the two most popular song categories to this day? Rap, pop. Who are those made by? Black people. What are some popular fashion choices that people are making right now? Baggy pants, big shirt, chains, grills, Jordans. Those were all inspired by Black people. What about some slang? What's some slang that we're using right now? Is it popular terms from AV and Ebonics? You know those come from Black people too, right? Just because they're gentrified does not mean that it stops coming from Black people. So no, we're not arguing whether we've made the toaster oven or not. We're talking about the fact that y'all include Black-inspired things in your everyday life, for the most part. Even down to the initial purpose of this app. Who began dancing before all this shit? Black people. Black people were making dancing videos, and white people were copying them and becoming famous off it. And you know who I'm talking about. I could be talking about
Elvis.
A lot of different people, but there's a main one that you know that I'm talking about. For the last decade and a half, Black has been the standard. So I don't know why people are so against Black people saying that we're the blueprint when socially we are and have been for a while.
But not gonna lie, God did his big one making sure that I was part of an actual culture. Like, it's just a good feeling when somebody was part.
No, Black American culture, right? Our culture is one of the most emulated cultures in the entire world. You go almost anywhere on the planet, you will find some form of Black American culture. Even in China, they emulate Black American culture. Even in Africa, they imitate Black American hip-hop culture. But the thing is, our culture is so emulated and copied that y'all actually think y'all have some kind of right to it. That it's a natural thing the way y'all talk, walk, and act. That y'all just copying some cool aesthetic. No, you're copying Black American culture.
There is a major cultural wake-up call happening right now, and it is especially important for African, Latin American, Caribbean, and other immigrants who come to the United States believing that they already understand what Black American culture is. For decades, people around the world have studied, admired, adopted, remixed, and exported elements of Black American culture. From music and fashion to language, dance, entertainment, sports, hairstyles, food, and attitudes towards self-expression, Black American cultural influence has traveled far beyond the United States. But there is one major lesson that is often missing. People study the culture without studying the history of the people who created it, and that creates a serious misunderstanding. Let's be clear. Foundational Black American culture did not simply appear in the 1970s, 1980s, or 1990s. Its roots go back centuries. Descendants of foundational Black Americans preserved traditions while creating new cultural forms under uniquely American circumstances. Over generations, those traditions mixed with indigenous influences and developed into distinctly foundational Black American expressions. The Smithsonian itself explains that foundational Black American influences are fundamental to America.
All right, I'm gonna land here, everybody. I'm gonna land here and I'm gonna say this. This is what the Black identity caused. When Black Americans were like, yeah, you know what? I'm a Black American. I have African DNA, but I know nothing about Africa. You know, people got mad about that, and the reason why they got mad about that because The delineation. The delineation was a motherfucker. That means that they were gonna have to do the work themselves. They're gonna have to pick up the slack themselves, and a lot of these people are not trying to do that. And yeah, I get it. We're we're better. We're stronger together. But at the end of the day, we have to? How many times we have to come together with y'all, and none of y'all are never there. Only time y'all are there is when it's your problem. When it's your problem, that's when we all want to come together. Now, when y'all have a problem, we warned you. As good as people we are, we warned y'all. We was like, "Yo, this is gonna go left if you." And the thing about it, it wasn't our problem. It wasn't our fault. It was your fault. Y'all voted for Donald Trump. We told y'all, you vote for Donald Trump. This is what's gonna happen. You gonna send y'all happy motherfucking asses back. We heard a whole bunch of crying. I seen this. I seen this Haitian guy get the nigga got an ankle bracelet and just broke down crying. He had the little Haitian shoes on with his, them Haitian pointy shoes that them Haitians be having on. Not all of y'all, but the old school niggas, the old school Haitians, like the ones who would, you could say they fresh off the boat. It'd be like 90 degrees outside. They got corduroys on with a yellow shirt, with a yellow silk shirt on. Yeah, they be bugging out here, but we warned y'all, and that's all we could have done is warned y'all. We're not gonna handle y'all problems. I understand that we're better, we're stronger together, but at the end of the day, we've been trying for the last 80 years. We've been trying since the 60s and the 70s. It's just y'all just gonna have to handle this shit yourself and just go amongst your way. And this is why I always tell people I believe that the Africans that went to France are much more resilient than the Africans that are in America. The Africans in France, they understand the system. They don't have black Americans helping them out. They have to come together. They have to, and I'm talking about they have to come together as Africans. They don't come together as tribes. They come together as, Africans. Y'all don't do that. Y'all have tribal wars in Africa and y'all have tribal wars in America. I have seen it, and I'm talking about, and I'm gonna say this: a lot of y'all people from other countries have these tribal wars, and y'all bring it to America. This is why y'all have this problem. In France, they got to get the shit together. They don't have black Americans that are resilient, that have a historical history of being resilient, always fighting, never giving up. They don't have those people in France or in Belgium or in I could kind of sort of say England, but in the European area, they don't have this distinctive people in these countries. It's only in America where black Americans are resilient. They've been here. You know, they talk the shit, they walk the shit, they about the shit, and I'm talking about, don't forget, black Americans are very inclusive people. It probably stopped a little bit now because a lot of niggas ain't coming to the cookout. A lot of niggas is getting cut off. A lot of people's getting cut off of the fish fry. So we had to cut them off, man. Is niggas is doing too much. Niggas is doing too much. Now all of a sudden, we hear kicking and crying. But let's get to these. Let's get to the live chat. Give me a second, everybody. I want to give my shout out, so just bear with me. Let's see, yada yada yada. Okay, here we go. So shout out to Ray Ray. Shout out to Black Rabbit. Shout out to you, player. Shout out to FBA Convo. Shout out to Fresh Always. Shout out to Randall Robinson. Shout out to you, player. Shout out to Black Snow Bunny King. Shout out to E Will. Shout out to your highness B1. Shout out to Cars. Nice seeing you again. Shout out to Big Remy. And I want to say thank y'all, everybody. I will see you in the morning because we do have a show in the morning. It's just my fault. I had stuff to do this morning. And plus I was tired again. Don't forget next week, not this week coming up, but the following week, we're not doing we're not doing any podcasting for a whole week. I have stuff to do with this documentary. So yeah, I apologize. We're taking a week off and it's a reset. We'll look at it as a reset. So thank y'all, everybody. Y'all have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.